intricacies of oval racing. So I'm interested to see who will rise to that challenge and maybe who will falter.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you can see the drivers down there in front of the fans, and a massive sold-out audience here in Fukuoka for the Gran Turismo World Finals. It's going to be hugely exciting to see how it is going to work out. So, let's see how this one goes then as we get ready to go racing. Daytona Speedway here for Group 3 cars for the Manufacturers' Cup. Race 1 is about to go green. Mazda will lead the field across the line as we get the Manufacturers' Cup underway for the 2025 Gran Turismo World Series World Finals in Fukuoka. Mazda from Subaru from Porsche in towards the first corner, and of course Mazda are punching the hole in the air for everybody else. Subaru there, you can see in the background already getting into the back of the Mazda as we come through the first corner. Here's Toyota, there's their view. They're all taking a low line through into turn 1. Now they're going to dance under the slipstream of this long back straight, and let's see how this one is going to work out. So kind of Road on board with him in the slipstream in a 5th position for him so far. As we come through in towards the second part of this is there going to be any difference in terms of the change of positions? Well, at the sharp end of the field is nose to tail. You can see it's like a massive long snake as they break their way through, and Nissan get tagged. They get spun around by the end of the first lap. So Nissan from the top 5 positions are now right at the back of the field with a lot of work to do.
That's huge because you're not going to catch up from here. There's no way you can catch this pack when they're all in a train like this. So we'll go back on board with Team Mazda looking over the rear spoiler there. Subaru and Porsche just kind of pushing him along. I'm interested to see if we're going to see any other groups try and form a second lane here, because right now on the bottom everyone's just sitting there hugging that yellow line. Very important to say you cannot cross that yellow line or it's an automatic penalty. Subaru there trying to push Team Mazda along. No one can really break away, so it's quite surprising to see Nissan go hard that early and get spun. I'd be interested in replaying that. So as we keep going, here is Team Mazda, Team Subaru, Team Porsche leading your standings right now, the front runners. Team BMW down in 9th place. Here's our Novara Access, and there goes Team Porsche, one of our champion, and Team Subaru too. 2 of our championship contenders are around already. Team Mazda now out front on their own. Red flag, race has been stopped.
Élőben red flag, gyerekek!
They were saying that if there's a big incident like that, they could throw a red flag. That's exactly what has happened. A disaster for the drivers. A good opportunity though for some who were involved in that misfortune. And look, let's see how this is going to work out here, because what will happen now is the grid won't be set from where they qualified. It'll be set from just before the red flag was thrown. Essentially, they'll go back, I imagine, to the previous sector.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys don't have over racing experience, and that kind of shows there at the start there. As long as Biden goes to check his Twitter, why not? Check it out there straight away. Other websites are available. I'd encourage that. Wait for the race to be restarted. So yeah, as you're saying, Tom, Team Nissan were involved in that. Porsche were involved in that. Subaru were involved in that. So these guys a bit of a saving grace.
Yeah, absolutely. This is an opportunity for them to just sort of sit there and work out, what their strategy is from this point on. It's always difficult when you get a red flag situation like this, and particularly difficult as well in the early stage of that race. No real chance for it to unfold. Work out sort of who the outliers are, who's got the pace, who's got the potential. And someone who will know a thing or two was Mika Zhao. We just saw him there on the left-hand side of the screen. Former champion, of course, now very much involved with the GT World Series in another capacity. And I imagine we'll be giving you a few tips and tricks of the trade.
Tips: don't crash, especially at Daytona, because guys, it's a circuit. It's flat out, you can do it. But interestingly, I thought maybe some of the American drivers have got a bit of an advantage here, because these guys, over racing much more prevalent in the US than it is pretty much anywhere else in the world. But awesome to have our live audience here as well, being treated to the first red flag of the day. There is Randall Hayward, Hollywood Hayward, as referred to as Jordan Rear.
Nem megy a nagyoknak Daytonán, trioválom, bazd meg. Kiforgatják egymást, beengedélyezett a bump draft. Sírok. Hülye pancserek. Ezek a világ legjobb versenyzői, a világ legjobb Gran Turismo versenyzői. és nem tudnak levezetni 10 kört Dayton a trioválon, ahol nincs féktáv, csak egyenesen kell menni egy ovális pályán. És kiforognak a legnagyobbak. És ahogy kiforgott a két legnagyobb névnek az autója, azonnal red flag. Első után semmi, a Nissan-t elengedték, kiforgott a Porsche, meg a Subaru, a két világbajnoki contender, és azonnal red flag. Cheers.
From this point on, we need to work out what the starting order is going to be after this, because we're going to go back to a previous sector. Will they be able to line up in sort of 4th or 5th place or wherever they were, or will they be right at the very back of the field? They're at the back of the field. I mean, it's not an absolute disaster, but it's not ideal, is it?
So what? I mean, what red flag? So why did they end up throwing a red flag there, Tom? Because like.
So essentially, race direction had a conversation, because it's an oval race. There's a lot of incidents. There's a chance for things to go wrong, exactly like we've had there. They said that if there's a big pile-up, if you're racing at Daytona in NASCAR or IndyCar or whatever it might have to be, like it is, if you've got an incident like that, big wreck, you'd end up with a red flag. So they're doing it exactly the same in real life, and a chance to go again, a chance for the drivers just calm down a bit, and bide their time. We haven't had many oval races in the GT World Series. Last time we did, I believe, was 2019, long time ago, and remember how that went.
Yeah, we were saying this about there being chaos on our last race, but a reminder now of our starting order for our second go here at Daytona.
Yeah, so here
Na, akkor újra kezdjük. Marad a sorrend. Szóval igazából nyomtak egy restartot.
Subaru and Danny Solis head the second position of the grid. The second row is headed by Sato in P3. Toyota with Kai de Bruin in 4th place. Then Lexus and Howard Balson line up on P5. They have got Lamborghini's Yusuke Notta. He was right at the back of the field, if you remember, at the first running of this one. So opportunity knocks for them. Ferrari down in 7th place. Honda are in 8th position with Craig Jeffrey alongside their BMW Rat Langford in 9th position. The top 10 completed by Mercedes-AMG and Sasaki. And then you have got McLaren with Yamamoto. Let's see what progress they can make. Nissan down there though in 12th. A lot of work to do, considering that they were originally starting in 4th place. It has not gone well so far for Nissan. They were involved with that big crash that we saw, which brought out the red flag ultimately. So now down to 6 laps of action then, and let's see how this one is going to work out. Originally it was a 10-lap race distance, now down to 6. So slightly reduced race distance. I'm sure opportunity knocks for some of the teams and some of the drivers. But it is going to be very interesting to see how this one is going to work out. And also for Subaru there, they can thank their lucky stars really, because it did not work out at all.
No, I mean, like I say, getting sort of shoved into the back of the pack there is not ideal. But another go in now as we roll around, rolling starts as we come to the start-finish line. 6 laps and the Daytona Oval Circuit. High speeds, high risks here in the first race of the grand final of the Manufacturers' Cup. Will Team Mazda lead from the get-go? Will Team Subaru manage to spin around this time? Let's find out.
Absolutely, there we go then. The restart is about to get underway for the first race of the Manufacturers' Cup.
Na nézzük közben. 6 körre lecsökkent a maradékot futják le, és csak a Nissan-t hagyták a mezőny végén.
Straight. Now we'll see how effective this fifth stream is proven to be. You can see Subaru and Mazda working together here, bumping one another as we come down this back straight. Is it ready to pull out of the slipstream, go for a higher line in towards this left-hander? No opportunity moving there for Toyota. They go towards the sort of middle line of it, but you can see them moving around constantly at this point of the corner.
Yes, partnerless, and this is when the drivers can very easily tense up and just make those little mistakes. But it's very, very important to try and stay in your line and keep things consistent. The moment you sort of duck out, you have to hope someone goes with you, otherwise you're left there. And there goes Team Ferrari in the side draft. They have help there on the outside. We can't see at the moment. They do have hope. Team BMW, they go into the high side, trying to push and maybe form that second lane. They've got no other choice, BMW. There's no other way they're going to get through otherwise.
So, points to the top 6, just to remind you, in this race. And in terms of the points as well, you get 6 points for the victory, all the way down to 1 point for 6th position. Now, Ferrari, they go to that higher line on the outside. They've got Lamborghini on the low side there here as we cover down this back straight over the timing line. And and let's see how it's going to work out then. So we begin lap 3. Mazda it is that leads. Subaru are in second place. Then you've got Porsche in third position, followed by Toyota, followed by Lexus. Over in towards the first turn we go. You can see bumping and barging in the sort of mid to latter pack as they sneak their way through. We're not seeing anyone going 2 by 2 through these first couple of corners. Down this back straight we go though. Are we going to see positions beginning to change hands? There's not a lot of time now, of course. Original race distance 10 laps, now down to 6 laps. We're already in the halfway stage as we're on lap 3 here. At the moment it's still Mazda and Porsche who lead.
I mean, you have to start doing something different now and think about it again. All I've seen really is the Team Ferrari and then Lamborghini have touched Ferrari. They just went under the bottom line there. Car spins around, Ferrari out as well, no fault of their own. And then there were 10. So Ferrari were trying to invent something around the outside. In the end, just got collected in something that was not their fault. But now Trent Jeffrey, another big one, boys, sort it out. Come on.
Not good at all there for Trent Jeffrey. He's going to be bitterly disappointed for that, as well the entire Honda team. We're 2 by 2 in the background now. We're starting to see the action taking place, but is it enough for Mazda and Subaru? Have they broken away into a lead? Not really, because it closed up at the end of the lead back straight. So we come through in towards the final turn on this Daytona Oval. Now we're going to start to see Subaru beginning to pull some punches. The problem with that Subaru is it's very quick in technical corners, on technical circuits. In a straight line, not necessarily so. So they have to sit in the slipstream here at this point and hope for a bump drop there for Porsche. Across the line we go. Penultimate lap now begins. It's still Mazda that leads. Subaru in second. Porsche in third. Points down to 6 once again. Just to remind you, at the moment it's Nissan who'll be the final point scorers.
Is anyone going to take a risk here? I mean, we've seen what's happened to Ferrari, Lamborghini, and Honda. You take a risk, you get shunted. So, I mean, there's nothing you can do. They're all one a turn right now. Mazda in the fortuitous position of leading that pack. You have to think you're just waiting. It doesn't matter where you are here. It matters where you are crossing the line and in the next lap. Right now, Mazda will be the victors, but I've got a feeling it's going to get a little bit more spicy before we get into this race.
Yeah, you get the sense that this is going to start to bubble up. What a disappointment though for Lamborghini and for Ferrari, especially for Ferrari, that brand new 296 car that they are competing against.
Ez komédia, ami itt működik, bazd meg. Gran Turismo világbajnokság döntőjére ilyet betesznek, bazd meg. Hihetetlen.
As we come down in towards the first turn for the final time. Don't think anyone's going to think about a higher line for them, but they're certainly bumping one another going through and also into quite a low line. But look at Porsche, they're coming to pressure from Toyota. I wonder if the door is starting to open for Toyota there and whether they're going to try and pick their pocket for that final podium place to pick up more points. Down the back straight we go for one final time.
BMW 1 másodperc penalty, akkor az utolsó.
It's bump drafting, is it not? I mean, we'll see if we get a replay of that later on, but it doesn't matter now. Final lap.
Unless it was the instant with Honda that we saw a couple of laps ago, maybe through the final corner we go though. So Mazda it is that lead from Subaru, from Porsche. We run to the line in race 1 of the Manufacturers' Cup World Finals here, and it's going to be first blood to Mazda. Porsche in third place, just behind Team Subaru. Toyota are in fourth, Lexus are fifth, and the final point position is occupied by Nissan ahead of McLaren and BMW, who managed to nick the final points place despite that 1 second penalty on the final lap of racing there here. And a great end to that one. Good job though from the eventual winners of Mazda and from Samuel Cardinal, the driver of that car, because he did an exceptionally brilliant drive to claim the victory there and just keep his head cool and calm. They were all bumping and barging and spinning off behind.
That's great race that one. The crowd were affected off the field there. I mean, I was waiting for a bit more action, but it never really came. I think anyone who tried to pull out just got spun. So I should say, great start for Mazda and for Toyota with Danny Solis, who sort of, sorry, for Subaru with Danny Solis, who probably say he's the weaker driver of that pairing. And second place is a really nice result for him, so good for their campaign.
Yeah, good Danny's going to taste, especially given what happened last time out in Los Angeles. You know, Danny was a bit disappointed with it because obviously the race did not go their way at all. The first non-score they had in the World Series season. But yeah, managed to turn things around here for the first race. Let's have a look at some highlights then. So originally we began with a 10-lap race to the checkered flag, but there were a series of incidents which saw Nissan getting spun round. And then we saw Porsche as well as Subaru going for a spin as well. That brought out the red flag. The restarted race was underway and 6 laps.
Well, I don't understand. Why do you have a red flag for that, but not for the boots later on? So that's the same amount of cars out there, 3 or 4 cars.
I mean, I'm not a race steward and I don't intend to be. I'm quite happy you. I'm quite happy to be neutral. But there you go. You saw the incident there between Lamborghini and Ferrari. Meanwhile, at the sharp end of the race, pretty static affair, to be completely honest with you. Aside from for Honda, they got an absolute bit into the back. And we saw another driver going round as well. And we also saw BMW picking up a 1 second penalty, presumably for their part to play in that one. Ultimately, though, Mazda and Samuel Cardinal would come through to take the victory from Subaru in second position. Kilian Drummond, who was, Dennis Hollis, who was behind the wheel of that car. And then third place for Porsche and for Sato and the checkered flag. Great job for Cardinal, great job for Mazda. 6 points on the board then here. Let's see how it's going to affect the final point standings after that first race. So you can see then here that race 1 was won by Samuel Cardinal then. And Mazda, Danny Solis in second position, Sato in third place. And a brilliant job for all concerned.
Yeah, really nice points for Mazda, Subaru and Porsche. Of course, one of the big contenders, BMW, scoring relatively few points in comparison.
Na.
That will drop down the field somewhat.
Hagyjuk már befutni egyedül.
Yeah, points all the way down to 10th place, I do beg your pardon. That's my error on that part. But yeah, points all the way down to there. So let's catch up then with Samuel Cardinal, who is the winner of that one.
Well, hi. How are you doing?
You're doing alright.
Yeah. Well, that was quite intense. How was that for you?
It was an easy race. Thanks to the pole for the pole. It was a good race. I don't know what to say really about that. Different.
ストレートな、ね、レースで、今までとは違うんですけども、とにかくポールのおかげでずっといられたということなんですけれども、後ろから1回目こう外側に出てくるのもありましたけれども、その辺でこう後ろから、ね、相手が来るっていうのを恐れたりしなかったでしょう。So there were one attempt from the outside behind, weren't you worried? People, the other cars coming from behind from the outside, go to overtake the attempt?
Honestly, no. The inside line works a lot better. The inside line is a lot better. The outside is real disagree. But it is what it is.
You're very casual.
Yeah.
Very casual.
本当落ち着いてますけど、いや全然大丈夫。外側の方が大変なんで内側にいれば大丈夫だと思います。
So, any advice for Paul? We're gonna just
Keep
drop.
the position. Keep the position and don't crash. It's gonna be alright. I think we are in a real decent position for titles, so we take those.
はい、もうね、タイトルに向けてはいい場所にいると思うんで、とにかくトラックポジションを失わないことが大事だというチームメイトへのアドバイスでした。Right?
Good advice for life. Drive fast, don't crash. Preferably. It's optional.
人生経験と一緒ですね、人生の教え。早く走って、そしてクラッシュしないことといういいアドバイスでした。Alright, that's the winner of race 1. Thank you and congratulations.
Give him a round of applause.
おめでとうございます。大きな拍手を送ってください。
Alright, let's throw it back up to Tom and Jimmy.
Sasha there as well. So look at the World Series points rankings then. So points down to 10th place in that race. And of course, more points on offer here as well. So you can see that Mazda taking the spoils. They now lead the standings from Subaru in second position. Well, they're tied on points there at the top as well. So you can see Porsche now up into third place at the expense of Toyota as well. So it's getting pretty frantic there in the certainly the first half of the table.
Yeah, look how brutal that was for BMW. Time points.
Gyerünk Alberti, Alberti megindul közben, amíg itt beszélgetnek a műsorvezetők következő verseny előtt.
Yeah, and of course that grand final is double points as we know, so plenty on offer for the drivers and for the teams.
Ott van, Halmai Ádám, a fiatal Halmai.
In second position, and Porsche slowly starting to creep up with that third place finish. Themselves ahead of Toyota for that top 3 position. Keep an eye out for BMW, for Nissan as well. I have to say, quite impressed with Nissan's recovery in that race. Let's not forget, they were right at the very back of the field. They managed to part the seas, as it were, for Philo. Got themselves up into 6th place at the end of that one. You can see Samuel Cardinal celebrating at the end of that. He knows that his hard work at this first phase of the event is done, but there's still plenty of time for things to change. Race 2 is coming up. We are, of course, in Fukuoka, at the home of one of Bolivian Digital's 4 studios, and we had a chance to have a look around the studio yesterday. JB, what a wonderful place.
Just another treat. Trying to see if I can get hold of security. I was tackled at the door. But no, amazing place to an insight into what's behind the scenes here, of course, and
GT. But, yeah, I think our competitors enjoyed it too.
Absolutely, yeah. And race 2 as well, we know that's going to be a pretty interesting, pretty exciting affair. And of course, a different set of circumstances as well. I have to say, that first race that we had, I was expecting a bit more at the sharp end of this one. But now we move over to the Autopolis International Racing Course, of course, in Group 3 cars. But as you can see, intermediate and heavy wet tyres. 5 laps as well, so not a particularly long race, this one. The grid order is reflected by the race results, that's how it's defined. But, you know, wet conditions on a very technical and tight circuit with a different set of drivers as well. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you see here some drivers are a little bit best foot forward. Again, you see Novara and Serrano involved here as well for the top 3 drivers. But of course, having the mixed conditions means that different cars are going to do better in different circumstances. We tend to say that the mid-engine cars be a bit more sketchy with that, with the weight towards the rear of the car. But front-engine cars like this Mazda RX Vision, for example, 10 years old this is.
Yeah.
I know. When did that happen?
I know, because the thing is, it looks like it was developed 10 minutes ago. It's so modern looking, and it's such a unique sounding car. 439 horsepower, front-engine, rear-wheel drive. And as you say, maybe a bit more stable in conditions such as this. So that might prove to be a beneficiary for Mazda. And given the fact that they're now joint points leaders with Subaru, who's also got a front-engine rear-wheel drive car, let's see whether they can bring that fight to the sharp end.
Yeah, and you've got Paul Euro behind them, someone who's incredibly experienced. And look at this. The amount of talent in this image is far beyond what my small brain can comprehend. You've got Jose Serrano, leader currently of the Nations Cup, Novara, second Nations Cup, and a 4 billion time champion. He's given me his own movie.
Yeah, it's a proper royalty we've got in the GT World Series. And in terms of Paul Euro, of course, we know that he got himself onto pole position for Mazda last time out as well in qualifying. Anyway, let's go down to Jules and Sasha ahead of race 2.
さあレース間もなくということになりますが Everybody's ready for race 2皆さんレース2はこの後も楽しんでいきましょう Who guys ready?
I don't know if I'm ready, but it's too late, Sasha.
Okay
Yeah, you ready?
I am ready, let's go Race 2 is right around the corner
So then, over to the second race of the Manufacturers' Cup, Autopolis in the wet. And Mazda took first blood a few moments ago in the first race of the weekend. Can they convert that into a second win and extend the lead in the points championship? Well, it's Paul Euro who will drive for them in this second race. Takuma Miyazono will be with Subaru on the front row of the grid. Then you've got Jose Serrano for Porsche in P3. Morimoto for Toyota lines up in 4th position ahead of Lexus and Kanasan Kawakami in P5. Of course, former double champions. Then Nissan, also former Manufacturers' Cup champions, lining up P6. Arthur Mosso is 7th on the grid, and BMW with Thomas Labutale lining up in P8. Mercedes-AMG and Lucas Bonelli lining up in 9th position. And P10 is Honda with Suji Miura. 11th place Lamborghini and Alifa in that final row of the grid with João Jesus for Ferrari. A lot of work for both Lamborghini and Ferrari to do, and not a lot of time to do it in here, Jimmy, because it's only a 5-lapper.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be tricky for the guys here, because they're going to have to try and experiment with grip levels with something they've not had the chance to do so. I mean, Autopolis, tricky circuit, the best of times, and into the back now for your wet conditions, there's spray from the car in front of you lower down the field. I mean, Paul Eura's in pole position in 2 ways, really. One, he's literally there, and 2, he hasn't got that spray to deal with, so he gets a much easier job going down to T1 for the first time. But interesting to see which cars and which teams really make the most of these conditions.
Well, just a reminder, points, of course, awarded down to 10th place in this race. 12 points on offer for the victor, 10 points for second, 8 points down to third, and then, of course, points all the way down to P10, and double points for the grand final. In terms of double points, a little bit more than that, actually, because it's 24 points in total for the victory, but more on that a little bit later. Let's get ready to go for race 2 of the Manufacturers' Cup here in Fukuoka. It's time to go racing at the Autopolis Raceway with Mazda across the line first, from Subaru, from Porsche, as we come in towards that first corner in the heavy wet conditions. So wet tyres available for the drivers. No need to worry about any pit stops in this race. It's not really going to be set to dry out, but who's going to be able to master these conditions in the wet? So Subaru there in second position with Porsche, who are in P3. And I want to see Porsche getting an early advantage here on Subaru. Well, it certainly looks like it. They go to the outside line here, and they're going to go sweeping around the outside. Are they going to make that move stick? Absolutely brilliant there for Porsche and Passato, getting the better of Subaru and for Takuma Miyazono, who drops himself down into third place. As we see Nissan versus Toyota for fourth place in the background as well.
Yeah, Nissan, they're chucking their car in and knocking Toyota out of the way. So I'm not sure the stewards are going to enjoy that one, but a robust move there from the fourth place team. Currently on board with Takuma Miyazono, looking at the back of the Porsche, went round the outside of him there. It just goes to show that different lines work in these wet conditions. Riding on the rubber done dry line is a good way to slide wide, so you've got to try and avoid that. As Team Toyota making their way back by Nissan, McLaren in the background too, trying to work their way through as Nissan scrambles some traction and corner exit here. Treacherous conditions to these drivers, and that spray as well really makes things difficult.
Yeah, so us coming down to the bottom of the circuit. Look at the advantage that Mazda have already built up, about half a second or so. Doesn't sound like a particularly huge amount, but it is quite significant, especially at this early stage of the race. Looking here at Morimoto then in the Toyota, Nissan very close behind Hiroshi Okamoto, the two Japanese drivers in the two Japanese manufactured cars in fourth and fifth place there respectively. Can they make an impact here on this race? Through the left-hander and then through this long, lazy right-hander which completes the lap, and you can see the difference in lines there. Nissan trying to go for the inside line. It's not going to work on Toyota, but they've got track position. It's just going to sort of converge as they come through the left-hander. They're going to get shuffled to the curve.
Gábor Káta, én ezzel öljek a mikrofonnal. Hozzá se érek a mikrofonhoz, vágod? Ne, hozzá se érek, mit hallasz? Mindjárt lekapcsolom valamit. Hozzáér valami az asztalhoz, a zsinór lehet. Most kippek. Na, várjál, közben meghalt a Toyota. Nem jössz partiba maradóra? Na, akkor nyitok egyet. Nézel a World Tourt? Megy a World Tour. Nézem a PlayStation Twitch-en. Direkt fölkeltem, hogy 9-kor megnézzem ezt a szart. Mondom, én nézd meg, a Porsche körbe fogja hugyozni a Mazdát. Csak siet, nagyon siet, és elbaszott a féktávot. Nagyon érkezik, nagyon-nagyon jön az a Porsche. Toyota.
Toyota in fourth place. Nissan going for that lunge on the inside. The gap is there, but unfortunately, two doesn't go into one.
Azt se tudom, hol vagyok. Igen, én is lehet még csinálok majd egy cigit, azt visszafekszem. Erre közben cserélnem kéne. Majd lehet itt lehozzuk. Káliti helyére.
Serrano is sorry, it's
yeah, Serrano is in the middle of that one, yeah, thank you, Mark.
Yeah, there he is. That definitely is Serrano. But yeah, we know how quick he is. Very strong team for Team Porsche. You know, Angel coming in saying we've got a chance here. They really do. If they keep up these performances, getting by Team Mazda here, though, will help that happen. Because right now, they're looking very, very quick.
Well, at the moment, they're even on points, let's not forget. Both on 22 points. Look at the sliding there for Serrano. He's just trying to find the limits of grip, isn't he? Just exploring a little bit beyond that. But they're tied on points. Whoever finishes ahead in this race is going to gain a bit more of an advantage than the other. So there's plenty of opportunity and a good incentive there as well. 4 points on offer here.
De megy ez a Porsche. De a Subaru se rossz, mi azon alatt, bazd meg. Túléli a Mazda. Én nem nagyon hiszem. A Pollura megy a Mazdával, a Serrano a Porsche-val, ezek nem bízták, ha véletlenre. Igen, és utol is éri a Porsche. Na nézzük, mit csinál a Pollura. Pollurát körbe lehet autózni a sővel? Körbe. Nem tudsz mit csinálni a Porsche-val esővel, ahol hosszat te vezeti, bazd meg. Na, megnyertük közben. Ránézek a Twitch-re, mit írtál, hogy mi ez a YouTube-ra, várj egy kicsit. Szotyi nincs itt, na hát igen. Hát azért mondom. Ha Szotyi ott lenne, akkor lenne esély. Úristen, mi van az első kanyarban? A Lamborghini az teljesen hülye mind a két versenyen. A Lamborghini kinyírta a Ferrarit az oválon, most kinyírják a Karadzáékat. A Lamborghini az teljesen hülye. Na, közben megdicsérik a csapatot. Hát ez nagyon Porsche Lamborghini között fog eldőlni, egyértelműen. Mazda talán bele tud szólni még a Grand Finalbe, de itt Porsche, Mazda, Subaru, ez lesz. Ajjaj, ajjaj. Mazda örül, hogyha behozza a második helyen. Mi azonul is nagyon jön azzal a Subaruval. Ez nagyon nagy kép. Hizál, Solis, meg a Kilian ülnek és nézik a Daily B-t. Under Investigation, tele van izével. Tipikus Daily B. Az közben világbajnokság döntőjét nézünk, érted? A döntők döntőjét. BMW pályán kívül áll, na vége, feladták. BMW a játék egyik legerősebb autója, OP autója volt. Egész évben, és a 12. helyen a pályán kívül áll a BMW. A 12. helyen a pályán kívül áll a BMW. Hát, ennyit az erőkről, ennyit az optimális erőkről. Az OP autó 12. helyen, a füvön áll, szakadó esőben. A Lamborghini meg szétbüntetve 7. helyen. Úgyhogy kinyírtak már 4 csapatot. Vicc. Mercedes is kapott még 2 szeket. Megyünk az időbe is közben, még egy barátságos meccs jön. Nyertünk 2-0 a Salernitana ellen, az nagyon kellett. Magyar a Serie B. 14-ek vagyunk, igen, benn kell maradni, esetleg 31, hát ez a 10 pont és soknak tűnik. Egy komoly meneteléssel talán még a rájátszás megcsíp. Ezt már behozzák így Porsche, Mazda, Subaruba, de a Nissan is ott van a 4. helyen most. Az is erős pozíció. Arthur Mosszol 5. helyen, McLarennel. Szotyi lenne ott a Lexusszal, de hát akkor nem 6. lenne a Lexus. Reméljük jövőre Szotyi ott lesz. Szotyinak jövőre ott kell lennie. There's a good opportunity for a possible lunge in the final few stages of this one. So Mazda and Subaru were tied on points at the start of this race. If the checkered flag finishes as it is now, it'll be Mazda with a 2-point advantage going into the penultimate race of the season in the Manufacturers' Cup, with Porsche there in 3rd position, but very close indeed, with just 3 points separating those 3 teams. Yeah, so bring Porsche right back into it. And you know what Angela was saying at the start of this, like, I'm fancy this, I reckon we can do this. We can be champions. We can just get a good race. This could be ideal for them. Only a few more corners separate Porsche and Jose Serrano will win here in race 2. You're again a 10th of a second faster, gap down to just under half a second now. So it just takes that one mistake from Jose Serrano at the sharp end of this one. One slip of the tyres, one slide into the corners under braking, and that could present the opportunity that Polviora and Mazda are looking for a dive. We come through into that final turn though, and unless we see a mistake from Jose Serrano, it is going to be Porsche that will come through to take the checkered flag. Out of the final corner we go, and across the line, Porsche, Mazda, Subaru, Nissan, McLaren, Arthurék ott vannak az 5. helyen. Arthur, hozzánk kell versenyezni. Gyerünk. Kicsit szurkolok most a McLarennek. Spanyolok egymás közt. Paul úr nem elégedett. Egy körbe húgyozta a hosszata a Porsche-val esőben.
Fast transition
that? Less than 2 tenths at the end there. So definitely chased home was Jose Serrano by his compatriot Paul Europe. You can see it now why we've had such Spanish domination this year. These guys just incredibly fast, and for Team Porsche, that's huge. That really puts them properly in contention now. We've got 3 teams starting to pull away from the rest: Mazda, Subaru and Porsche, with only 2 more races left this year.
Yep, so
Na, még egy single race, és utána jön a komoly verseny végre. Még egy Daily Bit meg kell nézni. A Lamborghini-t számon kéri mindenki. Mi a fasz csinálna?
Well, time for reflection after that second race. Wet conditions at the Autopolis Raceway, and Mazda initially led this one from Subaru, from Porsche, but Serrano was not taking things lying down, even on the opening lap on cold tyres. He was around the outside of Subaru for second place. Given Miyazono didn't know which way he was going and which way he came from. We saw some drama though between Toyota and between Nissan. They had a bit of hip and shoulder going through the final sector, and that ultimately set them on a trajectory for contact going down towards the first corner. Toyota versus Nissan. Nissan diving to the inside line. Ultimately, it sent Toyota into the gravel.
Yeah, you can see the investigation, so I have to assume maybe there wasn't contact. Maybe the driver just got on the brakes, but there definitely was contact here. Here's the lap beginning, getting it all wrong. Hitting the BMW into the Mercedes. The Mercedes there, and Benelli just an unfortunate victim in all of that.
Yeah, disappointing there for them. Not disappointing though for Jose Serrano. Look at this, an absolute worldie of a move on the Mazda of Paul Europe. Just sent it around the outside like they were standing still, really. Got his way through and into the race lead. Nothing that Paul Europe was able to do at this point. He did try and close up and did in fact make a dent into that race lead in the closing stages of it, but ultimately was not enough to depose Serrano of victory for the Porsche team here tonight in the Manufacturers' Cup.
Vamos! There you go.
Great job from Jose Serrano, good job from Paul Europe.
Én még visszafekszem szerintem a World Tour után. Én már most érzem, hogy nehezen maradok ébren.
Serrano ahead of Paul Euro's Mazda. Miyazono in third place, ahead of a quiet race actually at the end for Okimoto. Not at the start of it, but at the end of it, not really much to mention.
Kádár Tamást le akarják igazolni.
Kawakami in 6th place, point of course all the way down to 10th place. One DNF in that one was Thomas Labusle, who failed to take the checkered flag.
And that pretty much puts
Milyen számai vannak a
a
Kádárnak?
strong contender coming into this round here at Fukuoka, but with that DNF, no points scored and a poor race won, that's probably them out of it.
Absolutely. Well, let's then go down and catch up with the winner from that one, Jose Serrano for the Porsche team. They take victory in the second race of the evening.
Yes, we are joined by race winner Jose Serrano. Hi, how you doing? You seem really casual about that. Everyone's very casual today, or maybe it's just all inside. I don't know.
Well, みんな落ち着いてるね。まあねっていう感じですけど。Well,
so yeah, I so happy with the win again, and yeah, so happy with you here in the interview.
Oh, I'm not part of the prize, but thanks.
彼で嬉しいのとね、インタビューされて嬉しいよって言われて、いや商品の一つでは私はないんだけれどもねって言ってますけども、ね、
Muszáj, bazd meg. Nyitottam partit amúgy, ha bejössz Maradona.
I don't know how I could, but I like the rain a lot, so I was very confident with the rain and also with the Porsche, so it's a perfect combo for me. So happy.
雨は実はね、すごく自信があって好きなんですね。雨のレースも好きだし。
Kádár az én vagyok. Te vagy Kádár, Tomi?
Yes. So I actually have a question, which is, when it's you and Paul, like, is there a certain amount of you that is like a little bit less aggressive because it's Paul?
I think so.
Like, you know, like you'd maybe be riskier with someone else.
Well, I risk with all drivers, but with Paul is a little bit less.
A little bit less. He was doing you a favour, but still overtook you. He wasn't even trying.
ボールにいる時ってやっぱりちょっと落ち着いてるのっていうふうに言ったら、まあリスクそれを取らなくていいので、前後ろにいるよりはボールの方がちょっとリスクが高いかなっていうふうに言ってますけどね。Right.
Well, look, we'll let you go and have a sit down. Congratulations. Please give a big round of applause for Jose Serrano.
大きな拍手をお送りください。ホセセラーノ選手です。
Yeah, back up to you, Tom and Jay.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Jules. Thanks to Sasha as well.
No.
Interesting, the two Spaniards not working together a little bit, maybe. Collusion.
Mi lesz a harmadik verseny? Nem is néztem.
Of course, you know.
Egyre vezet a Mazda 32 pont, Subaru 30, Porsche 29, a Nissan le van maradva. Hát itt igen, itt a Mazda Subaru Porsche elhúzott. Elég nagy az előny. De a dupla pontoknál azért ott bármi lehet. Úristen, a Gallóék 11-ek a Hondával. Vagyis hát utolsó. Csak ott pont egy egyenlőséggel 11-ek. Mazda, Subaru, Porsche. Én nem tudom, inkább a Mazda, mint a Subaru. De a Solis az jó fej, meg a Miazonót is csípem.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see for BMW, difficult time though for really, you know, first race didn't particularly get off to a brilliant start. You're like, okay, well, you know, maybe it could get a little bit better. Race 2, disaster.
Again, 3 events worth of points that came into this event second.
A hangosítás az meg kritikán aluli.
I said they're out of it. I mean, they are still there. It is still massive.
A Jimmynek alig hallani a hangját a Tomhoz képest. Több ezren nézik a világon. Csak a PlayStation oldalán 1000 plusz Twitch-en. Gran Turismo 400, és még akkor YouTube-ot meg ilyeneket be lehet számolni. Az I Am Fusánál a Gran Turismo közvetítés többen nézik, mint a Gran Turismo Official oldalán Twitch-en. Az milyen? Többen nézik az orosz csávót, hogy értékeli, mint magát a Gran Turismo oldalon.
Ну как вам, весело, ребятки? Круто. Мы уже видели очень классные гонки сегодня. Там стратегия.
Hoppá, Igor Fraga.
You're in an extra good mood at the moment, and why is that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the last round of the Super Formula event was able to achieve my very first victory there, being in the rookie season as well. So yeah, super happy to be able to come here like that.
Az Igor Fraga meg futamot nyert a Super Formulába a valóságban, érted?
You must be so happy. But I want to say, you might have to translate a little bit. But do you remember maybe February or March this year? I made a bet with you.
Yeah, with Ayrton Senna jumper, right? Yeah. Yeah, so, まあジュリアさんと賭けしたんですけど、僕が優勝したら
Ez mekkora mágéció, hogy a csávó Gran Turismo-ba legenda, az közben Super Formulába futamot tud nyerni.
It's my favorite jumper, and I bet him if he got a podium in Super Formula that I would give it to him.
本当は表彰台でもらえるっていうところだったんですけど、茂木の第3戦でもう達成しちゃって、なんかつまんないなみたいなことを言ってましたね。
But like a month later, he gets a podium, and I'm like, what? My favorite jumper.
Yes, but yeah, I'm super happy. I think that the season also went really well. I think.
No, you can stop talking about Super Formula because you know what? We've got the jumper. That's way more important.
Oh, thank you.
This, you have to show them the greatest jumper in the world. Just take it off. Here we go. This is my favorite jumper. I'm very sad. Here we go. It is the best jumper. Turn it around. Turn it around. So I know it's maybe because of your driving, but I think it was because of me. You
and
won.
even went to the McLaren, right? With the proper car.
This has been aura farmed by being laid over Ayrton Senna's Formula One car for you. So this is
この
full
ジャン
of
パー
manner.
ジュリアさんがマクラーレンの仕事に行った時にマクラーレンの本部になんか連れて行ったみたいで、アイルトン・セナの車の、付近にもなんか置かれたそうで、はい、そういうなんかパワーがあるものらしいです。はい。
You're going to have to win double this year now for this, but let's give them a huge round of
Super
applause.
Formula, ázsiai Forma 1.
Thank you so much.
Szóval ilyen kis bajnokság.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jules. Thanks to Igor Fraga. What a lovely, wholesome moment that is. I'm going to do the same by, I don't know, put my GT shirt over a Dacia Sandero for you or something like that. See if that's what my phone will say. It's like a punishment.
Fraga élőbe is OP. Én remélem eljut egy Forma 2-ig, vagy Forma 3-ig legalább. De az se lenne rossz, ha a végén mondjuk egy vecbe köt neki, vagy rámenne az endurance versenyzésre. Na, Sardegna GR3. Itt mi lesz a Porsche-val? Szardenyán, ahol nagyon-nagyon sok lesz a szélárnyék. Nem nézed amúgy? Te nézed a World Tourt? És közben engem hallgatsz? Vagy nem nézed a World Tourt és csak hallgatod az én élménybeszámolómat? Közben... Valdézi! Ott van! És Halmai! Becsorgott a labda! A kis bokájáról. Halmai Ádám. Megszereztük a vezetést a Bari ellen idegenben. Oda néz Valdézi, becselezi magát, bepasszolja a kapus, árnyékra vetődik, ott a egyik védő a saját bokájába megbutlik, és Halmai becsorgatja a cipőfűzőjé megpattant labdát. Kell minden pont a Novarának, hogy életbe tartsa a playoff reményeket. És a legsötétebb lóként esetleg följusson még a szériába. Úgyhogy közelebb vagyunk a kieső zónához, mint a playoffhoz. Ajjajjajjaj, ez is de szép akció volt, Morosini. Szép fiúk, ez igen. Jó játék megy most. Igen, a Supra itt OP lehet, bazd meg. Itt nagyon OP lehet a Supra.
Angel's been around for a very long time, of course, very good driver, winner in LA for Team Porsche. The first event, I think it was in Tokyo in 2018.
Na, Kili lehozza a Subaru-val? Vagy esetleg Kokobu a Mazdával? Esetleg Inastróza a Porsche-val? Júj. Hát én szerintem ez Kokobu. Talán a Kilian lehozza észre, hogyha lesz tempó abba a Subaru-val az egyenesbe. Erre nagyon kíváncsi leszek. Ez egy jó pálya, jó verseny. Itt lehet versenyezni. Donadio menet közben mekkorát szúrt. Ezek a japánok nagyon cukik. De az geci, hogy a fél nézőközönség még a mai napig covidos maszkba ül, attól ez felkúr. Na, ez az. Kinek drukkolok, nem is tudom. Mazda. Én a Mazdának drukkolok. Paulura Kokobun. Szimpi ez a Mazda. Júj, Halmai, majdnem durrantok még egyet. De Cerefolini odaért. Na, és ott a Miu megy a izével, a Nissannal. A Murphy az ír gyerek megy. Mangano megy a Lexusszal. Hashima. Rosenberger, Novara, Gallo a Hondával. Nono a 10. a Mercivel. Karadza Toyotával, az OP autó, 12. a BMW a Suzuki-val. BMW a Suzuki-val. A Suzuki a pilóta. Úristen! Durva, Nono az meg Európába top. Csórinak a mezőny végén kell venni, a Gallóról meg ne is beszéljünk, érted? Akkor felkészülsz egy egész évre, és utána kapsz egy ilyen meccsnapot, hogy Dayton a trióvál, Autopolis eső, nézd meg a Galló is úgy dolog, hogy a fasz aki van.
Sold out crowd here in Fukuoka this weekend. they'll be keen to see what is going to happen and who, of course, is going to claim the crown of the Manufacturers' Cup. Let's get ready to go racing. Race 3 then is underway here in the Manufacturers' Cup at the Sardinia Road Circuit. Porsche leading Mazda, leading Subaru as they come down in towards the first corner.
Na nézzük, közben tekernem kell egy címet, akkor lehet lesz egy kis zörgés.
For Mazda as well as Subaru coming under pressure as well. No moves being made in towards that first turn as expected, but around the sort of second part of this opening lap we should start to see drivers who are getting their elbows out as they start.
Porsche tudja tartani, a Mazda már azonnal lőtávon van. Másfél tizedre a Porsche segélybe. A hátsó egyenesre kíváncsi leszek, hogy itt a Subaru meg a Mazda hogy fog megérkezni a Porsche-nak. Ez a Subi megérkezett, a Mazda már nem csak előre-hátrafele is néz. Ez lehet a Porsche szerencséje most. Ezt a kanyart ezt neki meg kell csinálnia, hogy meglegyen a tempó. Na most. Ez bejön a GTR is. Miu-Miu-val. Igen, még itt egy kicsit drukkolok a GTR-nek, kár, ott lenne a Megdi, akkor egyértelmű neki drukkolnék. As well in the Manufacturers' Cup. Let's see whether they can spring a few surprises with McLaren very close in tow through the sweeping left and right-hander before we come in towards the next big braking zone on this first lap into this left-hander. Lamborghini and Mercedes under investigation for a collision then on this opening lap. Let's see whether they've been deemed to be the aggressor or the innocent party.
Gallo there making a move on the Ferrari drive up to P7 and goes to Valerio Gallo, past champion, Nations Cup champion. Honda not looking so strong though this time out, but I'm sure looking to try and make as best as he can of the situation. Meanwhile, we're with Nissan and Sajak going down towards T1. Big overspeed on the Subaru, the most defensive. Drimon there keeping the car just on the line. Very nice defensive driving there. You can get the impression that Sajak is they can smell blood in the water.
Nincs változás, Mercit azt vizsgálják. A Lamborghinivel megint baj van, úgyhogy a Lamborghini minden balesetnél ott van. Gyerünk, Miu-Miu.
I was down chatting to him in the World Series events over the course of this year. He's a young lad, bright head on his shoulders and mature head on his shoulders, especially when it comes to racecraft as well. So let's see whether we can get that Nissan up into the podium positions and be the disruptor in this race. We come through in towards the left-hander. I have to say they're keeping it remarkably calm and tidy. Jimmy, as we get into this point now of the evening where we're...
Fú, de megy az első négyes, és a McLaren is ott van 5. helyen. Honda Gallóval már a 6. Mangánót megelőzték. Les, fújjuk be lesnek. Tuti nem volt ez. Akkor indítás volt.
With Stroza at the wheel, a bit of breathing room. So here we go, then down towards T1, we're on board with Sajak, looking at the back of that BRZ there, struggling in the straight line. It's now the time we'll see the bonus driver strike, looks to the outside line, not quite close enough to anything there, but well, these guys really getting bunched up now. You were saying they're taking it easy, so I'm not sure they are.
A defensive line there for Stroza. I think he got a poor run off the final corner, which compromised him down to turn 1. The problem is though, what he did was it bottlenecked up, it sort of concertinaed up through that first turn, and you can see how close they are now running nose to tail. It was close going into there, it's certainly closer now as we come in through this first sector.
Stroza drifted incredible on the last quarter. That Mazda's just an absolute bullet in a straight line. Meanwhile, a bit further down the field. So here is a replay.
Oh, this is what happened with Mercedes and Lamborghini on the opening lap. So
great move.
Yeah, if you forget where the brake pad is, it's brilliant.
Which he did, unfortunately. So yeah, I can understand the penalty there. But yeah, so yeah, Stroza's got a weird dynamic here where he's really quick at mid-corner with his Porsche, but he seems to up against that Mazda, which again is a bit of a bullet. It's not, sorry, this is the background there. Subaru is the fence, and then it's
Na, és a Subi megelőzi a Mazdát közben úgy, hogy megérkezik a GTR is. Na, itt pornó van, gyerekek. De nagy buli van, megérkezett a BMW is. A Lexus is. Nem, a Lexus. Jújjúj! A Mazda hátra csúszott negyediknek. Megérkezett mögé Galló. És még van hátra 4 kör. Érdekes, erre a pályára 7-et tudtak betenni, érted? Ha jó a verseny, de betesznek 7 körös futamot. Menj be, nem megy be. Oda néz a Nissan-t, és miu, megkorált meg! Kész. Ketten is kivégzik ebbe a kanyarba Subarut. És megjön a Galló is rá. Aj, bazd meg, a Miu elfékezte, vége a Miunak. Csóró. Bazd meg. Bazd meg. Nissan visszacsúszott a 7. helyre. Mekkorát ment pedig. Nagyon nagyot ment a Nissan, bazd meg. Csóró, és a Galló a második helyen van a mezőny második feléről. A Galló följött második helyre. Hárman fordulnak el. Kettőre közben vezetünk, nagyon szép fiúk, ez az. Atyaig, mi megy itt, már ezért kell itt versenyezni, látod? Így, úgy mennek, mint az őrültek. Mit keres a Honda a 3. helyen? A Mazda a 6. Nissan 10. helyre visszacsúszott, Csóró. Kettő közben, bazd meg, mert annyira nézem.
He's able to keep the pace with the Honda and live with it in a straight line. He's going to start dropping back. That might pop him into the clutches of Lexus, it might pop into the clutches of McLaren. It could be even worse here for Kylian Drumont, but you can see what it means though for Porsche at the moment. If the chicken flag fell now, it would be a dream start to the grand final with a 3-point advantage over Subaru and even more over the Mazda team as well, who've dropped down into 6th place.
Maybe they'll just manifest it. Maybe that's the trick. And they'll say, you know what, we're going to win this. There it is.
Yeah, I went for a walk with him yesterday. He was so calm, so focused, and so ready to go out and win. He said, no, we're leaving nothing on the table. We are here to win, and that is exactly what we're going to do. He was a man that was absolutely unwavering in the confidence that was underneath him, and that is proving to be absolutely justified here tonight.
Yeah, so right now, Gallo is he's kind of very slowly captain in a Stroza, not quite a lot. Only a couple of laps left in this race here at Sardinia, so really interesting back on the circuit. I've got to admit, I thought we'd had a bit of a quiet one here, but it's been anything but that so far. First lap of the race, a BMW and Suzuki down in P7, so he's quick, but he needs to go a bit quicker than that, I think.
Yeah, the problem is their championship challenge has really fallen apart like a cheap watch, courtesy of one race, isn't it? Really, you know.
Why do you believe when you say that?
I can see what you've got on your wrist. Across the timeline we go, McLaren versus Lexus side by side with one another as we come down the start-finish straight in towards the
McLaren is a 4. helyen, bazd meg. A Lexus jön föl most.
On the outside then, so Mangano versus Murphy in the Lexus versus the McLaren. Mazda and Cockerman ready to try and pick their pocket as well. That'll be damage limitation there for Cockerman as they try to ascend their way back up the order following the early dramas that they have suffered. As they're looking through in towards the right-hander, it all stays pretty stagnant in terms of the positions. But now, let's have a look at this battle then with Mazda. So this is a lunge to the inside.
Mazda ölte meg a Miut.
It just looked like Sejak outbraked himself from that angle, at least, certainly.
There wasn't any clear movement on it, but I'm sure Sejak will have his own opinions on what happened there as well. But we really, I mean, for Mazda team and Cockerman, he really needs to invent something now because he's down in 6th place. He needs better points than this Lexus and McLaren side by side. Still, that McLaren's getting put on the grass. Yep, why'd you go?
Igen.
Hits the Mazda there.
Azt hittem a Miu baszta ott, hogy szélesre ment, de nem a Mazda. Megtolta. És 3 ponttal vezet így a Porsche. A Subaru Mazda előtt. Ott pont egyenlőség lesz. Júj, a Nissan nem lett meccsbe, pedig a Nissan feljött volna meccsbe. A Honda a 11. helyen volt összesítésben, úgyhogy megy ma a passzommal, közben Matthias Verett megszerzi a vezetést. Kétszer is vezettünk a Bari ellen, és végén kikapunk 3-2-re. Nem áll? Fasz csinálta.
For Angel Nestroza so far in this race. Again, he's just looked calm, controlled and comfortable, as have the entire team here tonight. They've just been absolutely unfathomable.
Yeah, really good performance so far from this man Angel Nestroza in that Porsche. He's had a bit of luck go his way, we must say, but he's driven very well at the front. Only about half a lap or so before Porsche claimed their second win of the evening here. And it's all going their way. I mean, here is Valerio Gallo. What a drive from Gallo. Probably one of the drives of this show so far. Up 7 places defending from Drummond in that Subaru.
Gallo 7 helyet jött fel.
Team Mazda picked up the bits. P5 for them. There is Nestroza, of course, double points for our grand final. So whilst this will put Porsche in the lead going into the final, still all to play for.
Well, Mazda, their race is it's good damage limitation for them in fifth position. If they can get another place on Lexus,
Alberti nem találja be a szezonban a helyét a csapatba.
AMG did the same trick, it came out of nowhere. They took out 2 cars. They're doing it.
Yeah, that's certainly place for a dive bomb.
Mondom én, előző szezonban vezéregyéniség volt, vágta a gólokat, most meg 6-os 6-2-ket játszik, meg alig lő volt. Nem áll össze ez a Serie B. A Serie C-ben nagyon nagyok voltunk, de itt... Lexus végül kapott még egy szeket. És a Mazdai kapott egy pozíciót.
There between AMG, McLaren and Nissan to the checkered flag as well. But what a fantastic drive for Team Porsche and what confidence they will have going into the grand final.
And you see there, you start to get an inkling at this point if you're Angel Nestroza. You're thinking, you know what, maybe this is the year, was it 2019?
Albertivel mi a faszom van ott elől? Ezt láttad azt a megindulást?
It's just amazing to see, sorry, it was this shit, it was last round, wasn't it? It was, yeah. Oh my god, there goes me.
Albertit el fogom küldeni a faszba. Ebben a szezonban katasztrófa, hogy teljesít. Ez egy Serie B nem neki való. Ez a Skylotti. Idegesek a fiú. Na, itt az összefoglaló. Boom. Mindenki nagyon nagyot akart fékezni, állandóan. A Subaru-t is azért előzte meg a Nissan, nézd milyen könnyen. Pikpak. Ő akarott belül fékezni. Csórós szedziák. Paul úr is fogja a fejét. Mi a fasz csinálnak? Mangano megölte a McLaren-t. A Mercedes is megölte a McLaren-t. Atyai! Ja, az MCM-ben nincs ennyi eset. Két verseny alatt, mint amit itt egy 7 körös versenyen a VB döntőben lerendeznek a legnagyobbak, érted? Inostroza megköszönte, mosolyog. Én lehoztam, fiú. Ti ott buliztatok mögöttem? Ja, Inostroza is jó arc. A Chilébe vele is megnézném, mi van az asztalon. Biztos jó arc lehet.
Sejak, who was bitterly disappointed with a ninth place. Karatsa, Rosenberger and Jun Shima are your final finishers then here today. But what a brilliant drive from Angela Stroza, and as we said, a 3-point advantage going into that final race of the evening here tonight. Well, let's catch up then with Angela Stroza and get the Chilean driver's thoughts after another fantastic drive for Team Porsche.
Hi. I was having a little dance. I wasn't ready. I'm sorry. Hi.
Yeah, enjoying.
Yeah, just enjoying the music, enjoying the vibe. Engel, you're back, baby. Yeah, we love.
Yeah, congratulations. おめでとうございます。Vamos!
Vamos!
Wait, no, you need to do the.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
comes up always.
How was that view? I mean, obviously getting not quite so comfortable, but towards the end of the race, you look really. I mean, I say comfortable. How comfortable is it ever?
I mean, I knew that I had Honda behind, which was driven by Valerio, which is always fast, you know. So I had to stay fast, you know. But the first few laps were not comfortable at all. I mean, I had a plan, which worked perfectly, which is just try to pack everyone behind, and they will try to overtake each other, and I will go myself alone in first place. It worked, yeah.
Hát igen. Azt ott csak mindenki tartsa maga mögött, aztán mögöttem úgyis buli lesz és leszakadhatok. És bejött. Ez volt a terve, ez volt a meccs terve. Hát összejött. Ne előzzék meg az első néhány kanyarba. Úgyis egymásra esnek a szélárnyék miatt, és akkor jön neki aranyélet. És így is történt. City-ról le akar igazolni. Nehogy megyünk a City-ról-hoz. Igen. Elutasítjuk, persze. Maradunk a Novaránál, megkezdtünk egy hosszú távú projektet, hogy mindenkit elutasítunk. Lapu Andor lesérült 1-3 napra, hogy menjen elküldjük a fizióhoz. Erősítőre habra.
The first round, Sato-san did not have good luck, sadly, and the second round, well, Serrano made 3 points, which was really good. Then Los Angeles, well, you know, I won that race, and it feels amazing.
You won in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles
Just
で勝ったの
bragging.
がここに繋がってい
I
ると
won
思い
in
ま
Los
すね。
Angeles.
これでシーズントップに立ったということで、この後のファイナルも本当に楽しみなんですけれども、最初はね、佐藤さんが、第1戦はですね、ちょっと不運もあったんですけど、その後3ポイント取って、自分がロサンゼルスで勝って、そして、この状況でロサンゼルスで勝ったということで、拍手もう一度お送りしましょう。2勝ということです。2 wins です。
Well, look, congratulations. Good luck in the final race to
Thank
all
you.
the drivers. I'm going to throw it back up to Tom and Jimmy. It's the grand final. Dash it,
It
Brandon.
is! One more!
Sasha needs to go and get a hearing test after that one, I think. Yeah, brilliant job from Porsche, from Angelo Stroza. No surprise, he just seems to be calm, confident, not overplaying his chances, not getting ahead of himself, and that's reflecting in the results, as you can see now. In fact, actually a 2-point swing they have over Mazda, because of course Mazda got the better of Lexus at the end of that one. Lexus picking up that penalty on the final lap.
Yeah, I mean, we have 3 very clear contenders now going into grand final. Porsche, Mazda and Subaru separated by only a couple of points, 3 points between all of them. So the shame about this out there and Sejak, I mean, that mistake really has cost him a proper go at this now. And he'll know that, and that'll be very frustrating for that team. There is still, you know, that takes us on here, but top 3,
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, look, it's mathematically possible for Nissan to do it. I mean, what he got on offer? 24 points for that grand final. So I'm just trying to do the math in my head. Lexus could technically do it, couldn't they? But they would need a bit of a minor miracle.
they'll need to win the tie.
Yeah, exactly.
Which probably is not going to happen. So, well, you never know. You never know. But Matt, I mean, I wasn't sure this stands I'll be seeing again here. Subaru still in contention as well. Mazda, I mean, an interesting race ago. I don't tend to see him fall under pressure that often. A couple of bad choices just put him in a place in the race.
But ultimately they recovered well, didn't they? You know, getting into fourth place at the end of that one. I know a bit of fortune on the final lap. Anyway, let's get into that in a few minutes' time. We've got a fantastic announcement to come here today.
That's right. I'm here with Kazunori Yamauchi. Yamauchi-san です。よろしくお願いします。
ありがとうございます。
So, for Yamauchi-san, how was the season and what are you looking forward for next year? まずは今シーズンここまでどうだったのかと、来シーズンに向けてはどうですか、来年に向けてはどうですかというところをまず伺いたいと思います。
はい、今年のレース、本当にどれもいいレースで、一つ一つ数えればキリがないんですけれども、今ね、こうして本当にワールドファイナルを迎えられたことは本当に嬉しく思っています。で、ちょっと気が早いんですけれども、来年の話も少ししたいと思っていて、
はい。So, first of all, we had so many good races. Every race was good, and really happy that we are here for the finals. But you know, I want to go a little bit forward to next year. その来年の話では。
はい。まず一つ目が、来年なんですが、シーズン結構早く始まります。具体的には1月の中旬、もうすぐですよね。1月の中旬からオンラインシーズンが始まります。
So the next season will start really early, mid-January. The online will start, and
あともう一つはですね、ビデオをご覧になっていただければいいかなと。
And for the next announcement, let's look at the video.
Januárban kezdődik a Szotyinak az éles szezon, Maradona most jelentette be a kaz. Ebbe a másodpercbe. Már januárban elkezdődik az éles selejtező a 2026-os szezonra. Nagyon durva. Nem várnak. Nem tudom, mi lesz 2026-ban, remélem bővítik a mezőnyt, vagy valami. Nürburgring, Salzburg, Monaco, Berlin, Párizs, Barcelona, Madrid, Prága, Amerikában, New York, Montreal, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, ezek az eddigi helyszínek szerintem. Sydneybe ugye már voltak, Tokió, Fukuoka, Japánon belül 2026-ban. Na mi várható? First event én. Hol? Nem láttam, Abu Dhabi? Abu Dhabi. Az Abu Dhabi. Round 1 Abu Dhabi. Március 28. A pályával együtt mennek Abu Dhabiba is. Akkor itt jön az arab pénz a játékba. Áramlik az arab pénz a játékba, ez az a helyzet, hogy az arabok ebben is pénzt tesznek. Most jelentik be. Na. Valami Abu Dhabi csávó, gondolom.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Department of Culture and Tourism Abu Dhabi, it's an honor to be here today at the Gran Turismo World Series 2025.
Kulturális és turisztikai miniszter egyébként Abu Dhabiban.
As the pinnacle of sim racing and the definitive global standard, Gran Turismo World Series present a unique vision and an elite level of competition to the world. This pursuit of excellence and elite performance perfectly mirrors the ambition and drive that we champion in Abu Dhabi.
シミュレーシングの最高峰であり世界的な基準を打ち立てる存在でもある
És kinyalta a Gran Turismo segét, hogy ugyanazt képviseli a Gran Turismo Sim Racing, mint az Abu Dhabi kultúra, meg minden, szóval ez meccsel az ő elképzeléseikkel, vagy valami ilyesmit
まさに
magyarázat.
私たちがアブダビで掲げ推進している志と完全に重なるんです
Abu Dhabi is transforming into a global gaming hub, establishing the Emirate as the center of excellence that sets industry benchmarks from talent development and business attraction to game development and the hosting of elite sports events.
はい、アブダビは現在ですね
Abu Dhabi szeretne nagy dolgokat rendezni az e-sportban, mondom én.
人材育成、そしてビジネスの誘致、ゲーム開発、さらにトップレベルの
Novara Palermo
スポーツのイベントの
0-1
開催に至るまでですね、業界のベンチマークを打ち立てる確立性の拠点としてその地位を確立しつつあるんです。
Through initiatives like Abu Dhabi Gaming, the
Abu
Emirate
Dhabi
is
Gaming.
developing a dynamic industry that connects businesses, investors, innovators, and talent across the global gaming value chain. We are creating an end-to-end gaming ecosystem that empowers the next generation of creators, developers, publishers, and e-sport athletes to thrive from Abu Dhabi.
アブダビゲーミングをはじめとする取り組みを通じてですね、私たちは企業、そして投資家、イノベーター、さらに才能ある人材をグローバルなゲーミングバリューチェーンを全体でつなぐ活気ある産業を育成しているんです。アブダビを拠点に次世代のクリエイター、開発者、そしてパブリッシャー、さらに e スポーツアスリートが活躍できるエンドトゥエンドのゲーミングエコシステムを構築しているんです。
Recently, we were thrilled to see Abu Dhabi make a statement in the gaming world as Yas Marina Circuit was added to Gran Turismo 7, breaking new ground. This exciting development offers players around the world the opportunity to experience our iconic track in-game and showcases our city in new audiences around the world.
最近ではですね、ヤスマリナサーキットのグランツーリスモ7に追加されたことによりですね、アブダビがゲーミングの世界で大きな存在感を示したことを私たちは大変嬉しく思っているんです。この画期的な取り組みによって世界中のプレイヤーがですね、ゲーム内で私たちの象徴的なサーキットを体験できるようになりまして、アブダビという都市を新たなオーディエンスに向けて発信する機会ともなりました。
Building on this momentum, today I have the pleasure of making another exciting announcement that supports our ambition to elevate Abu Dhabi's position as a global gaming hub.
はい、この勢いをさらに発展させる形でですね、本日アブダビが世界的なゲーミングハブへと押し上げていくもう一つのエキサイティングな興奮する発表をさせていただきたいと思います。
I am delighted to share that Abu Dhabi will host the opening event of the Gran Turismo World Series 2026.
És ők rendezik a 2026-os nyitófordulót. Hát nagy buli lesz akkor.
グランツーリスモワールドシリーズ2026の開幕戦をアブダビで開催することをここに発表いたしたいと思います。
Komoly buli lesz Abu Dhabiba, Szatyikám.
On 28th of March 2026, this marks a significant moment for sim racing in the region and for Abu Dhabi's growth as a global destination for elite sports events.
2026年の3月28日でこの地域におけるシムレーシングにとって、そしてアブダビが世界有数のエリート e スポーツ開催地として成長していく上で非常に重要な節目の日ということになります。
Events like this go beyond competition. They are catalysts for growth, supporting the evolution of Abu Dhabi gaming sector, diversifying the economy and laying the foundation of future careers in a global industry.
このようなイベントは単なる競技の場にとどまりません。アブダビのゲーミング産業の進化を後押ししまして、経済の多角化を促進、グローバル産業における将来の
Komoly szektornak tartják az e-sportot
成長
is.
の原動力なんです。
És a Gran Turismo-ba is
We
beszállnak,
look
bazd meg.
forward to welcoming you all to Abu Dhabi and hosting the opening event of the 2026 season.
Nekik ez apró pénz, bazd meg. Ez, amit gondolom, amit a Gran Turismo-ba beletolnak, ez ilyen, várj egy kicsit, mi van itt a belső zsebembe, az akomba. Ja, itt van, jó, oké, akkor ezt rátolom, jó? Amit megtalált egy buli után reggel a ABC-be való bevásárlás után. Apró pénz nekik.
そして新たな1年の熱戦の幕開けにふさわしい舞台を共に作り上げていきたいと思います。
De tudják mekkora befektetés.
Thank you so much.
Meg se fogjuk élni Maradóra azt az igazi gaming boomot.
いやー驚きました。
はい
ちょっとこの山口さんからも思いを教えてください。
そうですね、アブダビの皆さんとはもう何年も前から、こういったプランを練っていて、ようやく安マリーナサーキットもグランツーリスモの中に収録できて、いよいよライブイベントということで、新たな、歴史がそこから始まるんじゃないかなと期待してます。
はい。We were talking with Abu Dhabi for a few years now, and finally, Yas Marina Circuit is in Gran Turismo 7, and now we are holding a live event next year. I'm really excited. His Excellency, Your Excellency, how do you feel now?
Oh, super happy. Happy being in Japan. Happy having GT World Series in Abu Dhabi next year. As you have mentioned, we have worked a lot towards that point, and hopefully it will be an annual event.
はい、もうね、本当にすごく努力してきたので、皆さんこのイベントをね、開催するのを本当に楽しみにしていますということですが、tickets will be is online now. You can go to granturismo.com.
Már tudsz venni Abu Dhabiba jegyet, ha el akarnál utazni Maradóra, jó? Már tudsz venni belépőjegyet. Szerintem a Volánbusszal, meg a Flixbusszal eljutsz amúgy. Nem, a Flixbusz az elvisz Abu Dhabiba. Tuti, Flixbusszal oda is el lehet jutni.
Thank you so much both. Thank you. ありがとうございました。
És a Kaz milyen boldog, a Kaz nagyon boldog, nagyon-nagyon, anyád, én nem vagyok boldog, de a Kaz nagyon boldog ennek a bejelentésnek a hallatán. De rendesen el volt érzékenyülve készfogás után. Ez komoly. Azt az eget, hogy innen is másképp néz ki. Úgyhogy én nézem laptopon, a Jimmyék mögött én monitoron a pályát. Úristen. Na nézzük, GR3, 20 kör, Abu Dhabi, 5-szörös gumikopás, hard medium soft kötelező.
Race around Jasmine, 20 laps, all drivers have to get in at least once, and you have to use each tyre for at least 5 consecutive laps, which means minimum driving time 5 laps for each driver here. So here's what our gremlins in the strategy department think will happen here. Do you agree with that, Tom?
Well, I mean, I was speaking to a couple of the drivers. They said that, look, the soft tyres, they go off the boil really, really quick. They said the medium tyres, a lot less so. So who knows, you could see a few interesting strategies. 9 laps is what they reckon the absolute maximum is going to be on that medium compacted tyre, but that's sort of the halfway house between that and the hard tyre. I mean, look at the difference in performance. The soft tyre, 2 seconds a lap quicker than the hard, so if you can eke out something on the mediums, it might prove to be beneficial.
Yeah, hard tyre is marble, yeah, again. I mean, that's the problem with that tyre here. It's made for a much longer race distance, and whilst it is being used to that, a Dunlop hard tyre, it is just like, you tend to give that to maybe the weaker driver in the team, the driver maybe strolls more around that circuit.
Na, Porsche, Honda, Subaru, Mazda, Lexus, BMW, Merci, McLaren, Nissan, Toyota, Lamborghini, Ferrari.
That's great for Porsche. They're in the balancing there. Now Honda is in the realms to upset.
Ez izgalmas, hogy ott a Honda ott van a második helyen. Ez a Porsche-nak nagyon sokat segít.
But they can definitely get in someone's way. Everyone's a massive race.
Yeah, what have they got? 18 points on the board, something like that. Oh, there we go. Let's have another look, shall we? Honda, a little bit fewer than that actually. Team points on the board there for Honda, but like you say, they could be the disruptor, the sort of the cat amongst the pigeons.
Hondának semmi esélye dobóra kerülni.
Porsche now lead. They have a 2-point swing over Mazda, who are subsequently 1 point ahead of Subaru there as well. You've got Nissan, Lexus, BMW, McLaren and Toyota all sort of involved in their own battle on the fringes of the podium there, as it were. But really, the top three, they're sort of the outliers here, aren't they? Porsche, Mazda and Subaru. How are they going to play this one here, Jimmy? I mean, what would you be doing at the start of this race if it was down to you? Would you be putting your quick driver in first? Do you put your slow driver in the middle? How do you play it?
It's a tough one. You have to really think about where you're starting on the grid. I mean, I can see now in the seat Ango and Estroza is starting the car for Team Porsche. And we've seen where he does well, leads from the front.
Az baj, nem csípem a hosszetét, bazd meg, és nem tudok a inasztózának drukkolni emiatt.
Here are the winning predictions, by the way. Subaru, would you reckon that's fan favourite, you think?
Well, I think they might have a bit of popular opinion there. I mean, look,
Úgyhogy marad a Mazda, hajrá Mazda. Mazdának drukkolok. 5%-ot adnak a Mazda győzelmére. 5-öt. Még a Lexusra is többet adnak, mint a Mazdára. Én pedig a Mazdára vótolok. Gyerünk Mazda.
Not a lot of love for Mazda there as well, they may say so.
No? I really think it should be percentage based. If you pick like a more outside team, you get like more credits. But is that gambling? That might be a bit too close to gambling.
Possibly so, possibly so. Well, you can see the drivers there who are lined up on the grid ready to go. We are now just moments away from the grand final as we get ready to crown champions in the Manufacturers' Cup.
Well, it's almost the grand final,
3-1
but we have someone
Palermo-tól
who's
nagyon
come back
kikapunk.
again this year. Hello!
なんと去年もいたカニオノモさんです。なんと今日どうしても来てくれました。カニ。He says crab.
Fukuoka, are you ready for the grand final of the Manufacturers Series 2025?
いよいよファイナル。
Ranocchi az nem a Andrea Ranocchi a tesója. Na, Ledon. Az meg Ledon. Kezdődik a Gran Turismo Manufacturers World Finals döntője. Kirian kisétál a képből. Ez egy jelzés, hogy a Subaru hazaviszi ezt a kupát. Kameraman is ott van felejtve a háttérben. Na, Porsche, Honda, Subaru, Mazda. Ugye? Ez az első négyes. Ó, Jeffrey indul a Hondával, akkor ott az védekezés dibuli lesz, mert a Miazono el fogja kapni, és Paul hamar fel fog rájuk zárkózni. Mangano kezd a Lexusszal, bedobják a nagyot, Original kezdő, ajjajjaj, McLaren, nem a Mosszó kezd, Filó kezd a Nissannál, Kahirészer a Toyotánál, Rosenberger a Lambóval, Jesus Ferrarival. Oké. És 3-1-re kikapunk a Palermótól idegenbe. Oké. Megpróbáltuk dominálni a játékot, megszereztük a vezetést, de Alberti kikerül a kezdőből. Albertinek ez volt az utolsó kezdője, mert teljesen formán kívül van a csávó. Totálisan formán kívül van Alberti. Nem tudom, mi van vele mostanában, de elkidom az egész csapatot a kurva anyjába. Ez nem állapot, ami itt uralkodik. Na, le van szakadva, gondolom a 8. hely, 45 pont. 31 ponttal szokunk már, 14 pont. Úgyhogy a bemaradás egyértelmű az egyetlen cél.
When the lights go out and we go racing for one final time in 2025. Porsche will lead the field across the line, followed by Honda, followed by Subaru,
Na elkezdődik. Porsche softokon, Honda hardokon, így van, Honda védekezés lesz, a Porsche meg akar szökni az elején. Ők mennek a fordított stratégián, ők nem akarnak itt bulizni, ők nem akarnak versenyezni, ők tempót akarnak menni, és a végén úgy vannak vele, hogyha tudtok, érjetek utol minket a faszomba. Inastróza pedig erre alkalmas, mert formában jön, lendületből, Szardenyáról. Így van, és el is kezdődik a buli, mert a Honda hardokon indul. Ugye egy optimális stratégián próbálkozik, el is engedi a Subarut meg a Mazdát. Mazda is softokon van, úgyhogy 1 másodperc. Ennyi, mintha nem történt volna semmi, egy kanyar alatt a két szoftos egymás mögött. És Paul megpróbálja utolérni Inastrózát. Na, erre kíváncsi leszek. Mert itt most eldől a Porsche Mazda közötti buli szerintem. Ugye a Paul utol tudja elérni. Bár mondjuk még a Hossete nem ül be a Porsche-ba, azért azt is. És a Hossete megy, gondolom a hosszú etapot. Médiumot vagy hardot. Inkább médiumot. Már 5-szörös kopásnál lehet a hard lesz az OP gumi. Ez a soft, ez nagyon rövid lesz. 4-5 kör. Subaru Lexus médiumon csatázgat, mert az úgy most nagyon kell nekik. Mangano az most mindent elkövet, hogy pozícióba kerüljön. A Miyazono meg úgy van vele, hogy a faszom ki van, hülye gyerek, de akkor legalább menjünk. Most nagyon kell, hogy a Honda itt maradjon a seggünkbe, hárdon gondolom a Miyazono ezt gondolja. Miközben a Mangano leveszi a falat is. Az nagyon örül most a Miyazono, hogy itt a Mangano itt most beragadt előtte. Nem baj, legalább a Lexus szívességet tesz, kiszedi a Subarut.
If the winner of this race is Porsche, Mazda or Subaru, each team respectively will take away the crown here today.
Absolutely, so it's damage limitation then for Honda here. What they've got to try and do is hang on to the coattails of Subaru and Lexus as much as they can. They're involved in their own little sort of battle, as it were, going in towards this hairpin bend. And what Honda would really benefit from is if they just started fighting amongst one another. But however, these drivers, they're very experienced. Behind the wheel of that Lexus is Giorgio Mangano. He's been here since day one. Takuma Miyazono behind the wheel of the Subaru. He knows a thing or two about how to win a title. They're not going to start dumping one another up in this first phase of the race. And look at how they're just playing it safe, just biding their time, lifting off of the throttle down this straight here to try and save a bit of fuel, but also just not get involved in sending one up the inside, costing them both time as they enter into the corner and subsequently dropping them back into those hard shot runners.
There's a possibility that he's just staying there and using the draft of his Lexus down the straight. So we know the Subaru's really fast in that last sector, but maybe overrule the lap time is quicker with a draft for this Subaru. So a little bit of strategy in play here to go into lap 2. Of course, strategy, just a reminder, each tyre must be used a minimum of 5 laps, which means basically every driver has to drive at least 5 laps. So there are stronger and weaker drivers in each team. We tend to see the guys running the soft tyre be the fastest. I say that though. Who's quicker out of Serrano and Inastroza? That's an interesting one to try and piece apart. But we'll leave that for now as we watch Lexus and Subaru go by. We sort of christened as the team memorial there on the right hand side. And luckily he's not in this race.
Goodness me. I wonder how long it would take. 2 laps was the answer.
2 laps.
As it turns out of the final corner we go, across the timing line then. Porsche trying to stretch that advantage. Last time around 1:53.7. Actually a couple of tenths of a second slower than Mazda and Pol Euro. So the gap's sitting in a bit of a constant. So then they're trying to stretch the advantage. It's not quite working for them. So all that Pol Euro needs to do then here is just drive his own race, sit there in second place, not allow Porsche to get too far off into the distance. As you said, Jimmy, that first lap move when we saw him sending it to the inside down into here on 2 cars, absolutely critical, because if he had waited another couple of corners, even the length of this back straight or so, it could have cost him time. That gap would have gone up from being as second as it is now, probably 1.5 seconds. It could have been
Honda nem áll olyan rosszul ám. Meg a Merci sem, a BMW sem. Egyőre nem tudja a Paul úr elkapni Inastrózát.
Mazda being slightly better on this tyre so far on the data that we have in the home support there. Nice effort to give him Miyazono. There he is. Rocking some very cute gloves as well. Very nice gloves. Yeah. What's it saying?
yeah, it's a bit of a colour clash, I must be honest, with the red. If I'm being completely
It's an honest stylist to say jewels in
Clearly,
there.
clearly not. Have you seen your hair?
This is in fashion, says someone.
Yes, if you woke up in 1978, perhaps. Anyway, Subaru. And to give Miyazono sitting there in 4th place. I have to say the loyalty that Takuma Miyazono has shown to Subaru over the years. I mean, if you remember, he won all of the championships back in 2020, and he's stayed with that team ever since. And he's won one since then as well, back in 2022. This is Mercedes versus Honda. The advance of the slipstream there for Mercedes, going through on the inside down the back straight and getting that moved up quite nicely.
Hogy megint a Ferrarit meg a Lamborghinit vizsgálják. Neki nagyon kellett itt versenyezni.
You are directly fighting for the series win here, so you have to maybe, I think you have to make those moves here. You can't afford to sort of work together. You need to really try and force the other car into as many mistakes as possible. Ferrari picked up a 1 second penalty there. Shame for them, I'm not quite sure what happened, but it was colliding with another car. We might see a replay something while we're on this, Subaru and Lexus. Get the impression Miyazono might be getting a little bit impatient now.
Yeah, it's starting to pick up his pace here, isn't he, to give Miyazono. Let's see whether he can start to bring those fights to the front. Through into that left-hander we go. And yeah, interesting, isn't it? And he's going to have, of course, the advantage of the slipstream. We know the Achilles heel, though, of that Subaru has traditionally been in a straight line. So let's see what it's like compared to the Lexus. Of course, he's got the advantage of the slipstream, and if it was a bit quicker in the straight line, you'd see him pull alongside. But then we did see him lifting off down that back straight earlier on, so I wonder whether there's a similar strategy going on. Unfortunately for Nissan, it's so close into the braking zone, just a smattering of contact there as Miyazono just gets into the back of the Lexus of Giorgio Mangano. But Nissan picking up a penalty there in 8th place as well, the former champions. They won it back in 2023, if you remember. And, well, this year it has not been particularly brilliant end to it, with Nikolai Sejak really getting into some bother in his race earlier on here tonight in particular, but a penalty for them. Meanwhile, 3rd and 4th place, Subaru still on the coattails here of Lexus. I'm going to have a lunge to the inside. They certainly are looking at it. Miyazono with the inside line. It's a brave move if you can make it stick through into there, but he gets it done absolutely wonderfully there. Miyazono into the braking zone.
Végre Miyazono megelőzte a Lexust. Végre.
Well, I didn't really sense too much resistance there from Mangano. I think he sort of knew it was over. Once you get to that point, that was a good place for him to make that move, because that Subaru is really quick for the last sector, can build hopefully a small bit of a gap for their sake anyway, and avoid being overtaken again on the straight. So here we are coming to that 5 of this race. That's a minimum drive time for each driver. So end of this lap, I suspect we'll see the Hart Brothers box, a driver change, and we'll see this race move into its 2nd phase.
Mazda looking a little bit kinder on their tyres compared to Porsche at this early stage of the race, and that's reflected in the lap times. The gap now down to half a second between Porsche and Mazda. 1:54.695 for Inestrosa in the lead, 1:54.481 for Pol Ura in 2nd place. So you can see the gap has come down to under half a second. It's now down to as close as it's been, and I wonder whether we might see a challenge for the race lead before too long. Pulls out of the slipstream as we come onto this back straight though, so certainly not trying to get too close to the back of Inestrosa. Again, trying to play that long game. I wonder though, will we see a divergence in strategy? They're now back on the coattails of Porsche, are Mazda here then. Are they going to think about maybe the undercut in this race to try and get the better of the race leaders?
It's a possibility. I mean, like, to be honest, if you team Porsche, I don't think the undercut's going to work so much right now. You want to try and stretch that soft tyre for the best life it has. I'm wondering why Pol Ura is opting to stay behind right now. I mean, it's obvious he has the pace over the Porsche. He's caught right up now. Gaps, what you can see on the screen. But that Mazda seems to have a bit of an advantage in a straight line. Maybe waiting for the back straight again, but
or maybe saving fuel.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm not sure how much fuel's going to be. I mean, fuel's going to be a factor here somewhat, but yeah, curious to see what the plan is.
Yeah, coming through under the hotel we go, and you can see Nosedale. This is as close as it's been in the battle for the race lead. 6 laps to remind you. That's about as much as we're reckoning these drivers are going to eke out. So we're coming in towards that pit window on the soft tyre. Only to see either of the top 2 driving into the pit lane. We are. Mazda come in then, so that's why we were seeing that for Pol Ura. He was pushing on. That was an in-lap for him then here. He just needed to minimise the gap.
Megpróbálnak alávágni a Porsche-ra.
They're going to change their driver driver as well. So Paul Euro will jump out of that car, into the car will come through to Cockburn, and onto the medium compound of tyre in this middle stint, and also a plethora of hard shot runners all now coming into them as well. I imagine they're all going to do the same. They're just going to try and get off of that hard compound of tyre as soon as they possibly can, and all pretty much go on to the medium. So Cockburn in the Mazda, and now, of course, what he needs is a nice bit of clear air in front of him, which he'll get as a result of the driver who pitted first.
Really interesting. These guys all hop in
Also
now.
got a penalty, Jimmy.
Oh, well, yeah, that's got to be track limits. That's got to be track limits there for Angel and Stroza. I saw him flirt with the edge of it here. They're being quite strict here. Basically, if you put two wheels on the curb, it is going to, both front wheels on the curb, I should say, sorry, it is going to be a penalty. So four wheels over, sorry, to be clear. Here's the replay. Let's see what it's for.
So we're through the right-hander. This is at turn 2. We're just going to go off to the outside. Yeah, four wheels over the white line. So, well, that'll be half a second penalty, something along the lines of that. You know, it doesn't sound like a particularly amount. Yeah, half a second. So, not a particularly big penalty, but you don't just lose the time of that half second. You lose the time getting back up to speed again. So it works out about 1.5 seconds, and that could be the difference between making that overcut now, as it has to be, work or not work indeed.
That will definitely make a difference. I think that if they opt to box this lap, Team Porsche, which I think they probably will, they are going to be dropping behind Mazda. Depends to get in that Porsche next, you know, what sort of stint they're going to run. Are they going to take that medium for the end, or are they going to go for a hard in the middle, and then just go for a long medium stint at the end?
Well, that's what I was about to say. Do you now try and, you know, limit the damage, stick your slower driver in, get your medium, your hard stint out of the way in the middle part of it, then come good at the end of the race doing the reverse of what Subaru have done, courtesy of the fact that they're going to come out, what, I reckon 1.5 seconds, maybe a couple of seconds behind as a result of that penalty that they picked up.
Let's see, Subaru looking very quick right now. Actually starting to, I think, catch up to the backup, and then in comes Porsche. So Angel and Stroza in the box, our current leader and points leader boxing. Who's going to get in the car for these guys now, coming for a fresh set of the double up tyres? It's Jose Serrano, arguably the fastest man in Gran Turismo at the moment, hopping in that Porsche. What's the tyre though? Onto the medium set of tyres there. So here we go through the long stint. I think that's a good call.
Makes sense, yeah, if you're going to stick your quickest driver in, arguably one of your quickest drivers, certainly.
Megérkezik Hosszete a médiumos etapra. Mondtam én, hogy a hosszú etapon majd a Hosszete jön. És akkor végén elkapja a hármat a sor is. A Solisnak csak le kell hoznia. Ő lesz a bohóc a csapatba. Neki kell a végén lehoznia az üres járatot. A nagyok fölépítik az előnyt. Kérdés, meg tudja csinálni.
To the side of the road there as the lights come on and darkness descends here at Abu Dhabi. I mean, I don't really recognise the circuit beside the floodlights, to be honest, so looking forward to seeing how it looks. Replay here between BMW and Honda. So what happened here?
So coming through into the final corner, BMW is looking for the inside line. Oh, beautiful bit of switchback on the inside, gets that move done absolutely wonderfully there for BMW. That's Thomas Labousle who was behind the wheel of the car. Meanwhile, the sharp end of this, now Subaru with Lexus right on their coattail. So this was the battle for third place, just to remind you, prior to the pit stops. They're the drivers who started on the medium compound of tyre. They haven't yet pitted. About 9 laps or so, that's what we reckon the medium tyres are going to be able to eke out in this race. But Lexus and Subaru, they kept each other honest in the opening stage of this race. And they're just sitting there waiting for the right opportunity. I don't think they're going to send anything to the inside. We're not going to see that from Giorgio Mangano behind the wheel of that Lexus. But, again, they've just kept Subaru in their sights for now. Kept the gap at a constant, playing along the patient game.
Yep, so looking at Team Subaru right now, one of our contenders here at the Grand Finals at Fukuoka. It all comes down to this. It's been a long year for these guys. Our 4th event, of course, for our Manufacturers' Cup. With 3 teams in it to win it: Mazda, Subaru and Porsche. Currently, if it ended as it was, Subaru would be your champions, but they've not pitted yet, so probably not going to happen. But right now, Giorgio Mangano keeping them honest in the Lexus, as you say, former champion 24 and 2018, so big pedigree for Team Lexus. Unfortunately, points-wise, not really contentious for the win here today, even though it was.
And it's a shame for Lexus because, as we know, reigning Manufacturers' Cup champions, it just hasn't worked out for them this season. They've been suffers a fair bit of misfortune, but also they've just not really been in the same league as some of the other drivers, some of the teams, and the consistencies that we've seen over the course of this season. And that goes back to the old adage of consistency creates champions, and that's exactly what we've seen over the course of this year, and it's ultimately what has been the downfall of Lexus's title defence in 2025. They're still sitting on the back of the Subaru. I think he's thinking
Subaru elől van. De ugye ők még nem voltak boxba. Subaru Lexus. Mangano, Miyazono Mangano. Mennyire gyönyörű ez a pálya, hogyan meg van csinálva? Mit kaptunk az Abu Dhabitól? Meg a játéktól együtt? Mondom, olyan, mintha a pálya fizetett volna a játéknak, nem fordítva. És hát látjátok a bejelentés után, amit mondtam, nekem lett igazam. Itt lehet, hogy adott a Gran Turismo X-et, de utána visszakapott így 3-4-0-val többet. Úgyhogy itt nézd meg a pályát, mennyire gyönyörű. Brutál, teljesen brutális. És akkor a Subaruba is beül a legkisebb év, Kilian Drummond. Na nézzük. A Lexus még kimarad még egy körre, Mangano még nem bír a faszával, ő még kimarad még egy körre médiumon. Kicsit megbolondítják a gumistratégiát, itt-ott eltolva egy-egy körökkel. A két szoftos között is volt egy körkülönbség, most a két vezető médiumos is szétszedte magát egy-egy körrel. Egy fél távnál. A Porsche gumielényben lehet viszont így a Mazda mögött. Ott a Porsche maradt ki egy körrel tovább, a Mazda meg alávágott a Porsche-nál. Hosszete meg utazgat. Hosszete utazik szerintem. Itt a benzinnel is nem tudom mennyire kell játszaniuk, mert kétszeresen van. Kibírja 20-at, vagy kell tankolni egyszer. De szerintem itt a benzin az nem fontos. Javítson ki valaki a tévedre. Hoppa, hoppa. Hosszé megérkezett. Föltett egy matricát oda a hátsó lámpa mögé. Alá. Hogy jövök. No, in fact, well, there you go, they've turned that around, they've gone onto the hard tyre, so they're going for the soft tyre in the closing stages then of this race, and diverging from the strategy of Team Subaru, is there going to be something that will pay off for them, because they'll have to do a very short final stint.
That's the thing though, that Lexus is quick on the straights, and that combined with soft tyre compared to Subaru, who will be slow on the straights with a hard tyre, it'll make that job a lot easier, I think, in the last stint, but we'll see. Go into lap 10 here.
I wonder what it will be like in terms of the gap for Lexus once they come out of the pit lane, because if they can stay within slipstream range of a car in front, that'll really help them out in terms of keeping that gap at a constant and limiting the damage, and it's worked out nicely, so they've clearly been calculating that between the teams and the drivers. They've got, of course, driver to team radio, so they can communicate with one another. They've obviously looked at the gaps, done the calculations on the fly. 1.5 seconds, it's just about enough to be within slipstreaming range, as we see Mazda versus Porsche starting to kick off into the braking zone of the left-hander. Porsche with the inside line challenging for the race lead.
Hozzá megcsinálta ezt is. Nagyon dominálja ezt a ligát. Olyan, hogyha jönne és mehetne.
Outside while Serrano's parking the car on the inside of the corner. Mazda aren't going to be able to launch anything through because the line is going to be blocked unless Serrano runs a bit wide. It sort of switches back on the inside as they go side by side with one another.
Akkor átmeccselnek, bazd meg.
Mazda on the outside now as we flick it through to the right. Porsche on the inside, they hold the line and they'll hold the place into the braking zone as well.
I mean, here are your two title contenders fighting it out right now. Team Porsche, Team Mazda separated by less than 3/10 of a second. Team Porsche now leading courtesy of that move from Jose Serrano, which of course now, if the race were to end, would mean they would take the title today. Literally, as well as finishes first out of these two, will be the one to win this title.
Keep an eye out for Subaru as well. Kylian Tremont's on the soft competent tyre here, Jimmy, in this middle stint of the race. They started third, they are now third, they've got a gap of about 7 seconds or so. So Kylian Tremont's in a great position. He can use that soft tyre to his advantage. Run a nice, clean middle stint in this race. Of course, they're going to have to pay for that later on because they're going to own the hard tyre in the closing stages of the race. But I wonder how this is going to work out for them as we come into
A Subaruék föltették a softot, 7 másodperccel vannak lemaradva.
So if Subaru and Tremont can close that gap down, it could go from a two-way fight between Porsche and Mazda up to a three-way tussle.
Yeah, but we'll see. It's going to be a big ask for that Subaru to pull this back in again. But if anyone can do it, it'll be Kylian Tremont. And of course, as you say, that'll be our 3 title contenders all fighting, which is, I mean, it just goes to show who's been the most consistent, who's been the quickest this season, but they're all there fighting at the end.
Kokobu mekkorát meccsel a hosszatével, de remeg a keze. Nézi, a kamerában látszik, hogy az egyenesben ugyanúgy tartják a kormányt, és a Kokobunak remeg a keze a kormányba, a Serránónak nem. Már lehet ez a kormány miatt van. Biztos, hogy a Kokobunak nem rissza van épp a segébe. Kicsit izgulhat.
Challenge for position last time around. No such dramas though here on lap 11 out of 20. Of course, one more stint there for all of the drivers left to run in this race. They must run at least
szépen megy a Kokobu. De szépen megy a Kokobu. Na hosszat szélesebb íven megy, és jobb a kijárati tempója. Nem fordul az a Porsche.
To the Mazda in this one as we descend into the darkness.
The Mazda and Kokobu, great pictures there as we got for another lap with very fast action. Toyota receiving a 1-second penalty for a collision with another car. We've not seen that at the moment, but that will
yeah, that was with Honda. We saw the investigation come up. Yeah. So clearly they've been deemed to be the aggressor. Just looking at the gap here, Jimmy, as well. 6.3 seconds with Subaru. So it's coming down, isn't it, here? Just to give you an idea of the difference in lap times between the top 2 and Kylian Tremont, and the mediums and the softs. It's about half a second or so quicker. Here's what happened then between Toyota and Honda. To the inside go Toyota, and into the side of Honda they go as well. That opens the door subsequently for Nissan. So drops them down and they pick up a 1-second penalty for their troubles.
Simple that one track limits, one for Team Mazda. You've got to be careful of these guys, the stewards are pretty on it around here, so the stewards
Mi van? Track limit, warning? Csak izé van? Warning van? Nincsen track limitért direkt büntetés, mint a délin, hogy ki van centízve pixel alapján, hanem itt most warning van, figyelik őket, mint egy Forma 1-es futamon? Ha? Most hogy van ez? Júj, Kokobun és a hosszete, júj, jaj, de csúszik. A Subaru nem tud közeledni egyébként, csak mondom, hogy az előző körben is 6 körüli másodperc, és most is 6,2. Nem közeledik az a Subaru a szoftokon, és egyszerűen az körre fogy. Úgyhogy én a Subarut kivettem a buliból, itt Porsche Mazda buli lesz a végén.
Yes, they're quick, but they don't have the same longevity as the medium tyre. So 6 laps into that stint, they're going to be absolutely knackered. And Kylian Tremont's already 4 laps into that, so they're coming towards the end of their useful shelf life, or will be in a lap or so's time. Down to just under 6 seconds for the first time is the gap between Porsche, Mazda.
Kirian megy a legrövidebbet ahol a softokon a Subaruval, vagy ez is érdekes.
See the crowd here in Fukuoka watching on the bottom left-hand side of your picture. What a fantastic city this is proven to be, and what a great venue it is for the grand final.
Hetet megy. Többet megy a softokon, de hát akkor is az Skopot bazd meg. Most 5 félre lecsúsztatta. Ez kevés lesz a Subaru-nak meg a Clearnek, úgyhogy Subi az kiszállt a buliból, itt Porsche Mazda van. Úristen, a Kokomo hogy megérkezett. Nem úgy, mint a gólunk a Reggian ellen, hazai pályán, nem akar megérkezni. És nagyon nyomja a Kokobu, és nagyon elkezdett élni.
Just to let you know as well, because there's a bit of a divergence in terms of the strategies between Porsche and Mazda and Subaru as well. They should pit relatively around the similar sort of time on that hard compound tyre. BMW then into the box. They're the first of the medium job runners in this final stint of Blink. They're going to be going onto the soft tyre for their final stage of this race. Out of the car jumps Thomas Lebutele. Into the car jumps Saya Suzuki. We know how quick he can be on his day. Lamborghini meanwhile picks up a
Lamborghini-t megint büntetik. Hogy a Lamborghini-t állandóan szétbüntetik, és nem adták meg a Reggiana gólját, ezek szerint Les miatt. Úristen, de nagyon adom, hogy 0-0 a meccs, mikor fölnézek. Ledon. Valdézi, a sárga lappal. Koroz már még mindig jobban teljesít, mint Alberti a legutóbbi meccsein. Morosini rászúrta, nem néztem meg jól azt a fickat. Gyerünk, gyerünk Mazda. Én szurkolok a Mazdának. Főleg így, amit most megy a Kokobón, hát hülye vagy. A Serrano mögött így kell menni. Hát ez, ilyet a Szotyitól látni, amikor így tud menni, csak ő még mondjuk előtte is tud. Úgyhogy ez amit a Kokobón megy, ez nagyon komoly. És megpróbálja, megöli a hosszetét, de megvárja, mennek tovább, nincsen baj. Pacsiznak egyet, szép volt Kokobó, nem baj, semmi baj. Tudom milyen érzés, ne remegjen meg a kezed. Ez van, megyünk tovább. Kap büntetést, vagy visszaengedte és fair van? Kérdés mi itt a... Na ez most egy érdekes dolog, egy jó álláspont. Nekünk is az MCN-ről, hogy milyen helyzetben mit ítélnek a World Touron, amikor majdnem megöli és mennek tovább. Colliding with no future action. Nagyon jó, no future action, semmi, mennek tovább, nincs büntetés egy ilyen esetben. Mennek tovább. Mazda warning. Kapott egy warningot, tessék. Warning. Ez egy warning. He's jumped into that one. Lanuza is out of the car. Nissan also into the box. Lexus as well. So now we're starting to see everybody else who's on the soft shod tyres. So they of course been out of sequence relative to the front sort of top four really in this race. Because of course they started on the slower compounds of tyre, and I wonder if it might bring them back into contention. Meanwhile, Porsche versus Mazda at the sharp end of this one, and you're absolutely right, Jimmy. I mean, if you remember, the gap between Subaru and the top two was, what, 5.5 seconds or so. It's now down to under 4 seconds as a result of that contact that we saw last time around. So we're now coming into the final stages of this race. Out of the Porsche is going to get Jose Serrano. Into the car is going to go Shota Sato, and let's see what he is going to be able to do on that hard tyre in the final stages of this one. In terms of the Mazda as well, we're going to see you're going to see Samuel Cardinal in the car, aren't we, for the final stint? So let's see how it works out. Let's see how close they are through this final stage as they come under the W Hotel and through that left-hander, and this surely is now going to be the
final part of this one. Big wiggle there for Kokoman as he just gets a bit too greedy into the power as the tyres are now really starting to get away, and into the box they both come at the end of lap 15 for their final pit stop of 2025 in the Manufacturers' Cup.
Yeah, slightly bit of box there from Mazda. Just a 10th gained anywhere is worth it, and now it's going to be a showdown. Amazing. It all comes down to this. The last 5 laps here at Fukuoka, the grand final of the Manufacturers' Cup. Team Porsche, Team Mazda, Team Subaru are your top 3 in the points, your top 3 contenders here. Whoever finishes first out of these 3 teams in the race will be the champion. Sato is charged with taking the car home for Team Porsche. Danny Solis in the car for Subaru. Who's in the car for Mazda, Tom?
In the Mazda it'll be Samuel Cardinal for the final stint of this race, so let's see what the Canadian driver is going to be able to do. So Sato in at Porsche, Cardinal in at Mazda, Solis in at Subaru.
Where is Team BMW? They can upset the apple cart here, as you would say, Mr. Brooks, and they're not quite out of pit lane yet, so I think realistically they've got a bit of a run back. 2 seconds back to, oh wow, they're close to my thought, Tom.
Yeah,
Wow,
they
and
are.
there they are, you can see them,
And they're going to be right on them like a shot before too long. 1.6 seconds, that's absolutely nothing given the performance advantage of these soft tyres, and they could be a bit of an upset because, you know, look, the leaders, they're not too far down the road. There's 4 laps left of this one, plenty of time for it to play out, especially if the top 2 start duffing one another up. We come into the back straight in towards the hairpin bend of the left-hander.
Úgy a Porsche meg fogja nyerni. Igen, de hogyha a Mazda nyer, a Mazda lesz a bajnok. Itt most az a jó ebben a versenyben, hogy itt most a győztes lesz a bajnok. Most a Solis erőből lehet bajnok. Megkapta a pozíciót erre az utolsó 5 körre, de le kell hozni a Solisnak. Csávó még joystickkal jutott ki az első World Tourjára. És World Touron vezetett, World Tour miatt vezetett kormányt először. És le kell hozni a Subaru-val a harmadik helyet. Jön mögötte a BMW, meg a Merci. Csóri, Hard Rubicon, vége. Hoppá, még kiáraton még ő tolja meg a BMW-t Hardokon, nem érted? Nagyon szélesre fordul. Merci is körbehugyozza. Szegény Solis. És a Reggiana megint gólt lő. Ezt nem hiszem el, Geci. Ezt tényleg nem hiszem el.
That's him down to fifth now, and the German march of BMW and Team AMG go onwards after Team Mazda. So the gap between Mazda and Porsche 7-10. So basically it's between these 2 really for the ultimate for the grand final for the series. But these 2 can upset that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, what, 3 seconds or so? It's a gap that looks pretty big, and we've got 3 laps left. You wonder
Bonelli mennyi széttépi a kormányt. És Bonelli megcsinálja a BMW-t. Megcsinálja a BMW-t. Azért Bonelli az Bonelli. Suzuki meg csak Suzuki a BMW-vel. Hoppá! Solis kapott 1 szeket. Solis kivették.
Subaru now out of contention for the overall victory of the Manufacturers' Cup. That's then done and dusted. You can pretty much count that out for it. Meanwhile, this is the effective battle for the race win in the grand final of the Manufacturers' Cup between Mercedes and between BMW. It would have been great for Mercedes. They need something to smile about after what has been a torrid couple of seasons in this championship. They came close to winning the Cup overall a few years ago, but that was ever such a distant memory now, and you can see them closing up onto the back. What is it now? 2.5 seconds. They've taken 1.5 seconds out over the course of this 2nd and 3rd sector alone.
What do you do if you're Mazda and Porsche right now? Because realistically, you're fighting each other good. You've got these 2 teams charging behind you. Do you just let them through, or do you fight for the win?
But I don't think you can do anything, can you? Because the difference in pace,
Hát, ez Porsche lesz. Ez nagyon Porsche.
I don't think there's going to be anything they can do. They're just going to go through like they're sitting still. Mercedes and BMW are surely going to go on in this battle for victory, and then you're going to have a battle for what is a 3rd place in this race that will be overall for Manufacturers' Cup title.
And whilst all this is happening, Mazda are closing on Team Porsche. The gap
1,14-es XG-re nem tudunk gólt lőni a Reggianánál.
in the
Vicc.
RX mission, harrying the Porsche 911 in front at the moment. This is going to be such an exciting finish here to the Manufacturer Series in 2025. Benelli there though hunting both of them down in the AMG.
So just to give you an idea, 16 points on offer for third place, 14 points on offer for fourth place. So it's a 2-point swing in it, but there's 2 points in it between the gaps at the start of this race. Let's have a look though at what's happening here between Mazda and Porsche. They're going to start to get their elbows out here before too long. Lap 18 out of 20. Are we going to see a dive from Samuel Cardinal down the back straight in towards the hairpin bend? Sato goes to the defensive line on the inside.
De megcsinálja.
Looks towards the outside of the Mazda.
Gyerünk Horc, gyerünk Horc, gyerünk, 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 gyerünk.
It's an opportunity
Gyerünk.
for AMG and for BMW in the battle for this victory. They're closing up onto the back of the top two at a vast rate of knots, and surely
Hú,
it's a
nagyon
battle
nyom
to
most
win.
hiszem.
And only if
Gyerünk,
there's a
gyerünk,
strike
Horc.
in this battle for victory
Beütött a crack, nézzétek a szemét. Most bassza szét az MDMA a csávó. Gyerünk szem. Úristen, ott volt egy kicsi pályelhagyás, ott azért egy warninggal megjutalmaznám. Warning! Gyerünk Horc! Gyerünk, 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 Mazda, gyerünk Mazda! Gyerünk Mazda!
It's all going to come down to here's Benelli and the AMG's right at the back of the Mazda now.
Yeah, we come through to the left and then the right.
Bazd meg, nagyon kemény, nagyon kemény, nagyon kemény. Hogy jön a Merci? Várja, hogy jön a Merci ott a végén? Hogy jön ott a Merci a végén 4/10-re? Softokon megérkezett a két hardgumisra a Merci. Mekkora buli van itt? Mekkora buli lesz itt?
Underneath him at this point, and more grip into the braking zone, and surely he's going to be able to challenge pole position. Mazda diving to the inside line then here.
Mert a Merci az meg akar érkezni a Mazdának, így van, és neki most az lenne a legjobb, ha elengedné, neki most az kéne, igen, el kell engedni a Merci, mindenképp be kell áldozni, mert most meg kell fogni a Mercinek, és itt most nagyon érkeznie kell a Mazdának a Mercivel. Na gyerünk szám, mit csinálsz? Mit csinálsz? Mit csinálsz? Miért nem a Merci mögé, Mercivel menjünk? A Mercivel kell menni. És megöli a Quartz, vége, a Porsche a bajnok. Megöli, vége, a Porsche a bajnok. Ott nem fordul el a Merci. Ott nem fordul el. Nem, miért vagy ilyen hülye faszfej? Hülye faszfej vagy Quartz, bazd meg. Hülye faszfej vagy. Mert nem bírsz a faszoddal, van még másfél kör, és a Merci elintézte volna neked. Így vége. Persze, hogy haza tudja hozni Szattlát, hagyjál már, ez... Itt még meg is fogják büntetni a Mazdát mindjárt. Úgyhogy ez 2-0 közben Reggianának. Szenved a Novara. Bazd meg Quartz, de milyen hülye vagy te, bazd meg. És nem fogják megbüntetni ezért. Nem szedik ki a Quartzot a buliból. Az ott jó volt, az ott elfért. Ma azért mondom, most szedik ki 2 másodperc a Mazdának. Azért mondom, hogy kiszedik. Hát nehogy ma az ott elférjen. Igen, ez legyen egy drága tanulság a szemnek, bazd meg. Ezen megy el egy világbajnoki címte, hülye faszfej. Ezen, mert hülye vagy, agresszív, és nem tudsz várni. Miközben jön egy szoftos és szívességet tesz neked. És a Satónak csak le kell vezetnie, semmi más dolga nincsen. Levezeti a Porsche-t. Grata Porsche-ra. Emer Autó lett megint a világbajnok.
goes, and that has certainly proven to be the case for the German manufacturer.
A Porsche 2025 legjobb autója, vicc! A Porsche 2025 legjobb autója. Hogy a Porsche-ból megint virágbanyagot csinált a Hossete. Ott volt neki az Inastróza, és ott volt neki ez a Sato gyerek. BMW második helyre följön. Mercit kinyírta a Mazda.
What a season, what an end to that race, what drama we've had here in Japan.
And look what that means there for the boys, that team Porsche. Now Angel's been trying to get this team to a Manufacturers Cup Series win
Grat Porsche-nak. Csóró pólóráért. Igen, ezt a pólóra másképp csinálta volna, az biztos. De hát ők osztották be a sorrendet. Ez ilyen buli, ez ilyen buli. Ez ilyen buli.
To bring that car home in front of his home audience here. But commiserations to Team Mazda. As we said, one small mistake is all it took. That put Cardinal out of contention.
Very, very fine margins, as always, in the GT World Series. And you can see the disappointment there for Mazda and for Samuel Cardinal. That mistake on the final lap and what it's cost them, what it's cost some of the drivers here tonight as well. Goodness me, what a job though from Team Porsche. They become the Manufacturers' Cup champions of 2025, and Angelo Strozer in particular will be thoroughly delighted with that. As Jimmy alluded to, a couple of years ago he had a terrible injury, broke his leg after a motorcycle accident, bounced back from that, returned to the GT World Series, and ever since then you felt like he'd been on the precipice of greatness, and he proved that greatness along with his team here tonight, and now the grandstand will rise for them in Japan. So you can see the race as we got underway for the grand final here at Abu Dhabi. Porsche led the initial stages of this one with Honda in second place. Of course, the top two of Porsche and Mazda started this one on the soft kind of tyres, so they had a clear advantage in the first phase of it.
Yeah, just sort of really showing their intention there. Go hard early and try and build that gap. We saw Copeland and Honda get quite close, including at this moment here where Copeland actually ended up slapping the back end there of Porsche's Honda Serrano. Serrano masterful recovery, just by keeping their head as Copeland there, showing his good sportsmanship in the place.
Well, you know what sportsmanship is all about. It's not doing things that make you look bad. There are a couple of moments that Mazda has in that race that did make them look bad. Meanwhile, this is one of them. We're coming down towards the final part of this race. Mazda were attacking, and then you just see they just misjudged it, biffed it into the side of Mercedes. It cost Benelli and AMG a chance of victory as well.
I just don't think that's not our job, is it? Our job is to sit here and celebrate these guys. Team Porsche, great result for those guys there. Kettle and Santos' reaction there a bit different. Very composed there from Santos, and then a stroke to the back, shouting down the mountain. There's confirmation then, Team Porsche taking the win in the grand final over BMW. Good result for there for BMW. What could have been for these guys? Fourth overall eventually in the standings by my maths, but a real shame for those guys.
Yeah, no doubt about it. An absolutely phenomenal job from Team Porsche. Confirmation of the results then. 10 points was the eventual advantage they would have when all is said and done. Mazda in second place, Subaru on the podium in third position there overall as well. Great job from that team, and well, they will be absolutely delighted with that one. No surprise at all. All the way further down the order, you can see Mercedes AMG, opportunity knocks for them. Such a disappointment at the end of that one. Let's catch up though with Team Porsche, Manufacturers' Cup champions of 2025.
Yes, we are down on the floor with the winners, Team Porsche. How are you doing, guys? It feels good to the touch, right? Life is beautiful, I would say. Is life beautiful right now?
Yeah, sure. What a day. What a day. You started fourth in the championship, and you finished first.
Yeah, it's, I honestly have no words right now. I mean, yeah, that's it. It's like...
Megint a hangosítás. Ez vicc.
Well, we are both
4位で始まって今日ね1位ね、いやもう言葉もないんですけども、チームメイトが素晴らしかった、ワールドチャンピオンになっちゃったよということでね、佐藤選手どうでした最後ね、かなり責任もあったと思うんですけども、so you had a lot of pressure for the final stint. How was it?
安マリーナを抑えるとこ抑えたら左の抜かれたらまあ自信もありました。
In Yas Marina, if you just, you have a couple of points that you need to defend, and if you defend that place, it's difficult to overtake, so he had confidence in that.
Serrano, what was going on with Mazda where you had a little shifty around the corner? What happened there? You held it together though. We were all like, what? Saved. Nice.
When we had the contact, I thought, okay, we lose the championship, so.
In the 1 second, you're like,
yeah, in 1 second, yeah. I nearly had a heart attack.
that was stylishly done.
マツダとのですね、接触のところはですね、もう失うチャンピオンシップ失うと思ってですね、後ろではですね、もう本当にね、心臓が止まる思いだったということですけど、なんとか守ることができたと。But he saved it. He saved the day. Yeah, it was really cool.
Do you have anything that you'd like to say to your fans behind you right now? What do you want to say?
Arigato, Japan.
No translation needed.
Yeah, no translation needed for that one. Well, look, massive congratulations. You guys were so strong all day, and it really does come down to this final race. So you pleased with yourself? You're going to celebrate? Well, maybe not too much celebration. A little bit. Chotto celebration.
Chotto celebration.
I'm learning one word a day in Japan.
Okay. 今日習った日本語ですけど、明日までちょっとだけお祝いかなというふうに言っていますけれどもね。いやでも本当に素晴らしいですね。One more big applause.
Back to you, Tom and Jimmy.
Nico, brilliant season from the Manufacturers' Cup, and what a season it's been, especially for Team Porsche. An amazing job. It just looked unfathomable, unvaluable, sorry, I beg your pardon, under pressure at the end of that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to admit, same as Serrano, when I saw that contact, I thought, oh, that's going to be controversial. I think we did the right thing there, redress that position there, but drama all the way to the end. And, yeah, I mean, I didn't think we'd ever see it when Japanese manufacturer win this, given their heavy presence here, of course. But yeah, I mean, see Porsche do it, especially for, we've mentioned Angel before, but he's been a Porsche driver for as long as I can remember. He's always stayed with them for years and years and years. So for him, this must be extra sweet.
Absolutely, and also, for Jose Serrano, great job from him. He's on the precipice of greatness, also in the Manufacturers' Cup, could become a double champion here this weekend, and for Sato as well. Brilliant for him, especially for...
Ja, Hosszete volt a napversenyzője, azért az egy-két olyan előzést esőbe is körbe úgy oszta a mezőnyt. Itt is, amit lehozott. Ja, Hosszete. Megérdemelte a Porsche. Csak hát hogy egész évben sehol sincs a Porsche, aztán megnyerik a egész évet. Ez érdekes.
Absolutely, and if you're Mazda in particular, obviously, finishing second in the overall standings is a great job, but it's going to hurt for a little while. Don't forget, you can vote for your Dunlop driver of the day. Valerio Gallo, Jose Serrano, or Angel Estrada are your options for that one. Who do you think has been the outlier in that GP vote? Jimmy, if you had the option to?
I mean, Gallo had a very impressive drive in that Sardinian race. I mean, somewhat anonymous, I think. Maybe the car not quite to his liking in the final. But that's part of the Manufacturers' Cup. It's a team game. It's not about one individual driver. Well, I say it, man, pick your favourite driver.
Nice and succinct into the point. I like that one. Yeah, no, it really was a fantastic race there. And for Lucas Bonelli, I mean, he could come into fourth place at the checkered flag, but the contact, especially in that final, it was unfortunate. Is probably the best way of putting it.
It's a certified Bonelli moment, I think, where basically he does super well when it gets taken out by someone. And he's like, cool, that happens to me every time. It's a real shame, but yeah, I mean, here are our suggestions for you for the driver today. Jose Serrano, Estrada, of course, or Valerio Gallo.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as we say, of course, there's an opportunity for revenge again next season, vengeance, whatever you want to call it. For next year, if you look at Mazda, they're going to be disappointed with that. It's as close as they've come to taking the crown in the Manufacturers' Cup. And it's going to sting for a little while, especially for the drivers, all the effort and the hours that they put in. you know.
Do you know why? Because I think can't remember. I think he had the pace to do it, but unfortunately, just that incident with Benelli, that cost him the chance to do it. And I think it was just because, you know what, we're going to go full 4D in this one, because they had that contact, they slowed each other down, and Benelli caught him at that part of the circuit. And that had not been contact between Kokop and Serrano, we could be congratulating Mazda.
We certainly could be, but we're not. We're congratulating
They're going to support it.
It's the way it works out sometimes in motor racing. You know, you've got to, of course, do everything you can, but you've got to also have really good fortune. And unfortunately, fortune wasn't in their favour here today. And, you know, it is what it is, as a wise man once said. It is. Goodness me, yeah. I mean, of course, we've also got the Nations Cup to come here tomorrow. A lot of the drivers that are competing in the Manufacturers' Cup here tonight are also going to be competing in that event. How do you then put a disappointment, say, for some of those drivers that have not had the best of evenings here tonight to then move forward and just focus on what's going on tomorrow?
I mean, you kind of have no choice. This is part of the game. You've got to try. The race ends, and then it's got to get to you. You know what I mean? And now move on to the next one straight away. If you spend your time ruminating and thinking, oh, what have I done differently, you're never ever going to put yourself in a mindset where you can be competitive. So these guys, they're pros. That's exactly what they do. So I mean, Serrano, of course, is leading Nations Cup at the moment. That'll be a nice double for him.
Absolutely will. Well, anyway, enough of us talking and analysing the race. Let's get down to the podium ceremony then, shall we, here in Fukuoka. Time for the podium ceremony then to begin here in Japan. And what a season it has been in the Manufacturers' Cup in 2025. Third place, giving it your all for Team Subaru, for Danny Sonic, for Kilian Dumont and Takuma Miyazono. Second place for Team Mazda, Ryota Kokuma, Paul Ura and Samuel Cardinal. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the 2025 Manufacturers' Cup Champions of the World. Give it your all for Angel Estrada, for Jose Serrano, and Shane Sato for Team Porsche. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please stand if you're able for the national anthem of our winning manufacturer of Germany.
Itt vagyok, aha. Élő stream van, úgyhogy létszik kapcsolt be a hangod. Ma barátságos stream van, nem szidunk senkit. Itt vagy? Nem téged, csak ha már itt vagy, akkor téged is hallanak, hogy kivel beszélgetek. A Youtube-on megyünk élőbe, semmi komolyság, csak FM.
De mit streamelsz?
FM-et. A bennmaradást. Próbálok bennmaradni, Szabi, a Serie B-be, de nagyon nehéz. Nagyon nehéz.
Hát nem, én nem használtad az OP Gegenpress-t, én mondtam.
Használtam, de egyelőre az annyira elég, hogy 8 ponttal 17. vagyok, nem 18. ami már kieső.
Jó, de 4-2-3-1-et kell használni, csak akkor hatásos.
Azt 4-2-3-1-et használok.
Igen, akkor ennyi.
Én teljesen disappointed vagyok, nem tudom már mit csinálják, az Alberti nem szerzi a gólokat, nem tudok, nincs csatárom, nem tudok gólt lőni. Az a legrosszabb, hogy nincs gól lövőm.
Hát az még...
Albertit végigjátszatom, nem lövi be a gólokat. Lecserélem, akkor a cserecsatár nem lövi a gólt. Ha más kezd helyette, az se lő gólt. Én behozom Korozmán Kevint a faszomba. Aztán lesz, ami lesz.
Őket még 4 órakor azért nézni a boxmeccset.
Mi a Joshua-t?
Ja.
Na hát ez le volt fizetve.
Hát életbe hagyta 5 menetig, igen.
Hát de kiüthette volna. Kiütötte a végén.
De te honnan tudod, hogy kiüthette volna, miről beszélsz?
Hát olvastam, meg láttam most egy videót, ahol leütötte. És utána...
A 6. menetbe ütötte ki, de 4 menetig csak játszódott vele, még csak követgette itt-ott, nem akart semmit csinálni nagyon.
Persze, ez le volt zsírozva, hogy figyelj már, én boxolok veled, de én kiütlek a faszomba.
Nem volt lezsírozva szerintem a Jake Paul-lal, vele nem volt lezsírozva.
De, nem volt zsírozva. Az volt lezsírozva, hogy nem ütheti ki X menetig, hogy legyen meccs. És 2-0 a Cezerára.
Az esetleg. De meg lett az se a Jake Paul-lal volt lezsírozva különben. Nem úgy nézett ki, hogy a Jake Paul-lal megdumálta volna a meccset. Hát ő eltölt az árkapcsa a kiütésnél. Annál az ütés, amit láttat, eltölt az árkapcsa Jake Paul-nak.
Hát jó, de nem egy kategória ember, ez olyan, mint hogyha, mint a Messi elment Amerikába focizni ember.
Nem egy kategória, még a box tudás sem ugyanaz.
Hát nem.
Csávó 2 méter magas ember. Jake Paul meg olyan 185 magas. Nyilván. 185 magassága, az meg vannak heavyweight-esek, nem mondom, de ezek kövér disznó állatok. Hiába nem bíztat, a magasság is ez is sokat számít ebben a boxban.
Szarul játszunk, úgy ahogy van, szarul játszunk.
Karácsonyi hangulat van nálatok, vagy nincs annyira?
Micsoda? Itt köd van. Egész nap. Nagyon szar idő van itt.
Az nem karácsonyi hangulat.
Hát nem.
Legalább egy kis hó lenne, nem? Vagy valami?
Majd ha anyám elkezd főzni, akkor lesz karácsonyi hangulat.
Ja. Nem, én neked emlékszem, hogy gyerek voltam, az meg, hát én máshogy vártam ezt a napot. Te is, nem?
Hát persze. Hát itt... Hát Csonka család, nagybátyámék jönnek át, meg unokaöcsémék.
Így főbb fázva. Az. Nem sikerült tesómat meggyőzni, hogy jöjjön Gran Turismozni.
Nem.
Az én tesómat, nem a tiédet, az enyémet. Nem sikerül meggyőzni. Tegnap volt nálam, de ő ralizni akar. Nem a utcai, nem ő aszfalton versenyezni.
Jó, hát ez kell egy beállítottság.
Én nem tudom, meddig lesz itt. Na mi van, hogy áll a meccs?
Szarul.
Nem tudom, valamit le kell töltsék.
Bent kell maradnunk, ez a cél, csak maradjunk bent. Ezt leszimulálom, Szabi, becserélek még egy játékost. Vajdát.
Mi? Ezt is rász?
Hát persze, 2-0 Csezena.
Neked nem osztottad a képernyőt? Nézzem már.
Osztottam.
Ja,
Hangodat megosztottad?
Mit?
Hangodat bekapcsoltad? Köszönöm.
Köszönöm a 2-0.
Igen, Szopó rolleren vagyunk. Nem tudom, harmadik meccs óta volt egy 6 meccses győzelmi sorozatunk. Akkor ott azt hittem, hogy ott elindul valami. Kilábaltunk a győzelmi vagy veretlenségi sorozat, szerintem veretlenség inkább. Ott azt hittem, kilábaltunk és elindul valami, 8 pontra voltunk a playoff-tól. De a téli szünetben egyszerűen megtört valami. A felkészülési meccsek jól sikerülnek, úgyhogy mindig próbálom azokkal húzni a hangulatot, hogy ugye sikerélménye van a csapatnak, de nem tudom. És néztem videót szezon végén, rá kell néznem a csapat beállítás is számít, hogy ki milyen hierarchiára van állítva, és mi a fizetése, mert hogyha valaki túl sokat keres, keveset játszik, az is számít.
Na, most megy aludni a Maradona.
Na, jó napot!
Maradona, az korán kelt. Végignéztük a World Tourt.
Igen.
Meg a meccseimet.
Tényleg mi volt a World Touron? Ki nyerte végül? Melyik autó?
Porsche. A Porsche lett az év autója. A Porsche meg a Mazda volt az utolsó pillanatig buliba, de a Quartz, a Cardinal elbaszta. Megjött a Merci, utolsó 2 kör a 20-ból, 19. körben. Ők hárdon voltak elől a Porsche-val, a Sato ment a Porsche-val, a Cardinal, a kanadai gyerek, a Prima Quartz, ő ment a Mazdával, és megjött a Bonelli a Mercivel softokon az utolsó 2 körben. Úgyhogy a Bonelli az vitte volna a győzelmet az utolsó futamon, ami még szerintem jó lett volna, maximum pont egyenlőség lett volna a Porsche Mazda között, de lehet, hogy nem. Nem tudom, mennyi volt a második, harmadik hely között dupla pontnál a különbség, de 6 ponttal ment így a Porsche. Úgyhogy a helycserénél mindenképp lett volna 1-2-be Mazda bajnoki cím. De mindegy, megjött a Merci, és a Sam az nagyon akarta védeni hárdon a pozíciót, és besorolt a Porsche mögé, majd kiütötte a kívülről érkező szoftos Bonellit, úgyhogy ki is szállt egy 2 másodperces büntetéssel. Viszont volt egy nagyon tanulságos rész számunkra, amikor a Kokobun majdnem megölte a Hossetét, a Hossete keresztbe állt, driftelt egyet a kanyarba, a Kokobun lelassított, megvárta és mentek tovább. És mindezért kapott a Kokobun egy warningot. Szóval nem volt pozícióvesztés, egy komolyabb ütés volt a Hossetének, de a Hossete megfogta ugye a csúszást. Hát azért vesztettek ott egy 6-8 tizedet biztos, hanem 1 másodpercet inkább, de mentek tovább, és warninggal megúszta a Kokobun. Én pedig a Szopó roller legvégén.
Mi a helyzet?
Nem tudom, hogy ki fogok esni a harmadosztályba, vagy sikerül bennmaradni a másodosztályba. Penge élen táncolunk a Novarával Maradona. Ez a szombati challenge, hogy a szezon második felébe bennmaradjunk, és nyáron meg tudjuk erősíteni a csapatot, mert olyan híreket kapok, hogy komoly befektetők nézték ki magának a Novarát, amióta feljutott a Serie B-be, és érkezhet pénz a házhoz. Ha pedig pénz érkezik a házhoz, akkor több keret lesz az átigazolásokra, illetve közben érnek a fiatalok. Lecseréltem a régebbi idős keretet, És jó lenne ezzel a fiatal kerettel bennmaradni a másodosztályba. A vezéregyéniségeket megtartom, a selejtet még eladom és lecserélem. És akkor a következő körben már egy playoff helyezés lehetne a cél. A feljutást azt azért nem merném megkockáztatni, de egy playoffban már elindulnék. És ott kikapni már nem szégyen. Egy fiatal csapattal. És akkor 2 szezonnal később már szeretnék feljutni. Ez lenne a mesterterv, de ehhez még nagyon fontos minden egyes mérkőzés ebben a szezonban, hogy minden pontot se elcsípjünk a tapasztalt Serie B csapatoktól. Újoncként vergődünk. Teljesen disappointed vagyok, te srácok. 3-0-ra
De a Lamborghini is az én voltam amúgy most.
A Lamborghini az totál vakon volt, nem is értem.
Az én voltam. Amúgy.
Akárki ment fel a Lamborghini-sek közül, akárki ment, azok minden második vizsgálódás a Lamborghini bulira volt. Minden harmadik Lamborghini Ferrari együtt. Csak mondom, hogy olyan déli B ment ott a mezőnybe, meg a mezőny végén, hogy katasztrófa. Az első futam, nézd már vissza, Szabi, red flag volt az első futamon, és restartoltak. Élőben a World Touron.
De miért?
Tudod, mi volt az első pálya? GR3-ba?
Mi?
Na, tippelj 3-at mondjuk.
Szardenya.
Nem, benne volt, de nem az volt, az a harmadik volt, ha jól emlékszem. Nem, az első pálya. Sosem találnád ki. Segítek, déli A-n használtuk már azt a pályát. Déli B-n és déli C-n szerintem soha.
Hű, melyiket szoktuk használni? Akkor az amerikai pálya meg lehet, vagy a...
Igen, segítek, jó irány, amerikai pálya. Annyit segítek, hogy nem a klasszikus, vagyis hát melyik földrészen, van olyan földrészen, ahol ez egy klasszikus vonalvezetés.
Már most körbe-körbe mentek a Daytonon körben?
Telébe találtad, Szabi. Daytona Oval. Várjál, nem, a kvalifikáció az külön volt. Az külön volt, nem is emlékszem, hogy hol. És Daytonán, szerintem Abu Dhabiba voltak az egykörös kvali. Dayton a 10 kör, és engedélyezték a bump draftingot.
Nagyon szégyen.
Gusztustalan volt. Az első kör végén, vagy második körben a Szedziák meghalt, kiforgatták, vagy hát meghalt a Nissannal. Harmadik körben meghalt együtt a Porsche meg a Mazda, ott ugye a 2 contender kiesett, és abban a pillanatban red flag.
Látod, itt a fizika, itt bukik meg a fizika a Gran Turismo-ba.
Teljesen.
Nézd meg. A Landraftnak a fizikája nem jó. Ilyen valóságban nincs, hogy ha megtolsz valakit, akkor gyorsultok a másikra, meg ilyen hülyeségek.
Az ovált nézni olyan volt, mint hogyha valami PS2-es Need for Speed-et néznék, Szabi. Vagy PS2, mi az Xbox 1-es Forzát.
Egyszerűen olyan... a Gran Turismo, tudják ő is, hogy a Gran Turismo gyengesége a NASCAR Racing ebben a játékban. Az egy ocsmány dolog ebben a Gran Turismo-ban.
Igen, és berakták oválnak nekik, bazd meg. Úgyhogy meg volt alapozva a szerencsefaktor. Mert ott ugye előzni nem lehet, a Ferrari megpróbálta, valahol a mezőny közepéből egyszer kivágott, azt elment mellette mindenki. Utána ölte meg a Nissant. Ferrari, Lamborghini ott is, amit leműveltek. Srácok, szedjük már össze magunkat. Kirúgtak? Nem, azt hittem kirúgtak. Még nem írt az újság, hogy rezegnálattam a léc. Egy bajnokcsapat edzőjét nem rúgják ki. Szóval gusztustalan volt az ovál. Utána viszont kurva jó volt, beraktak egy 6 körös, ha jól emlékszem, 6 körös Autopolis szak esőt. Ott a Hosszete körbe húgyozta a Porsche-val ugye mindenkit, kétszer is külső íven előzött, aztán megnyerte. A harmadik futam meg Szardenya volt, igen. És akkor a nagy futam Abu Dhabi. Ugye Szardenya érkezési sorrendben. Ahol a Galló nagyot ment, úgyhogy a Honda második helyről indult Abu Dhabiba.
Hát rossz hír.
Mi?
Az, hogy itt volt kint ugye az internetes techniker lófasz.
Igen?
Aztán bedugta ugye az ő kis készülékét ugye,
Azt
hogy...
mondja, minden kurva jó.
Így van. Mondom, kurva jó, mondom, akkor ugye elkezdtem neki magyarázni, hogy online játszok, laggolok, az autósban eddig ez nem volt, 6 éve vagyok szerződésben, Vodafone-nál eddig semmi nem volt, 2 hónappal ezelőtt, elmondtam mindent, 2 hónappal ezelőtt elment egy napra az, 2 napra az internet, kijött egy techniker, visszabaszta a netet, azóta szar az egész. És akkor beírtam a tévén is, ugye, hogy internet speed test.
Igen.
Kiadta ugye egy 1,3 megabit a feltöltés.
Nagyon kevés, igen.
Igen, akkor
katasztrófa kevés. Az vicc, a telefonomon szerintem 10-szer több. Igen.
Akkor bekapcsoltam neki a PlayStation-t, beütettem ide a fotelembe, mondom, akkor nézze végig, németül is van a menü, ugye a PlayStation, furra értette az egészet. Ott megvárta izét, 3,2 megabit.
Az is az vicc. Hát az volt türelme maradóna, igen.
Igen, és utána meg megmutattam a telefonomon is, hogy mit mér, szóval a tévén is megmutattam.
És már mit mondott?
És egyszerűen ugye hát egyszerűen nem értette ő se. Egyébként az egészet most csinálta a semmit itt, ugye, mert reszetelte le a routert, meg újraindította, meg 28-szor lemérte, meg kicserélte az ő LAN kábelére, azt hitte, hogy akkor a kábel szar, és a szignált is megnézte, ugye, avval a műszerrel.
Neki mennyit mért az uploadra? Neki mennyit mért az ő mérőműszer az upload speedre?
Ilyen 40 és 50 között, ilyen 43 és 48-akat méregetett egyfolytában.
Az már jó.
Hát az tökéletes. Meg hát azért is fizetek, ugye.
Jó, a konzolon nem upload speed. Nekem is mindig más egy laptopon, ha leméred. Van laptopod, vagy van a számítógéped?
Nincs. De hát a tévé is ezt mutatja, az is ezt mutatja. Meg hát...
a tévé mennyire reális, nekem a tévé mennyit ír az upload speedre. Az Oculus Speed teszem ilyen neve.
De mindegy, amúgy mit csinálunk, mert a lényeg látszódik a Gran Turismo-ba, hogy elkezdtem laggolni, úgyhogy tök mindegy. Eddig nem laggoltam soha, úgyhogy...
Van egy ötletem, van a közeledben PS5? Bárkinek?
Nincs.
Igen, megnézem nekem az internet.
Vagy még a kábeled. Ugyanazt a kábelt használod, vagy azt már cserélted?
Már mondom, a csávó kicserélte a saját kábeljére, meg mindent csinált itt a gyerek. Hát ugye nem értette ezt az egészet. Ma mondtam neki, mondom, 3 eszköz is, oké, hogy mondom a te izédon, a mérődön bemérsz, és jó, azt mondta, hogy tökéletes a szignál, ugye nálam minden tökéletes volt. De hát mondom, nálam 3 eszköz is ezt mutatja, és mondom, valójában ez van, mert mondom, a játékban eddig nem laggoltam, és most laggolok.
Nekem 96-os letöltésem van download, a tévé, ugye a 200 netem, a tévé úgy látszik csak fel annyit vissza a tévé, 200-as itt csak 100-as úgymond a letöltésem, a PlayStation-om 200-at ír, itt a tévé a 100-at, feltöltésem 88 a feltöltésem az upload.
900 megás letöltésem van.
Hát jó van, ez tök mindegy, hogy most...
A letöltés az mindegy, mi ez csak kényelmi szempont. A feltöltés számít, hogyha online játszol.
Igen, nekem 88, az meg jó a 88, az biztos, hogy jó.
Most nem
persze. Egyforma mind a kettő. Úgyhogy neked biztos ott valami nem oké. Neked mennyi volt a tévé? Mit mért az Oculus Speeden? Az Oculus Speeden?
Nekem 1,3-at azt hiszem, ja.
Az nagyon rossz maradó, az nagyon gyenge.
Hát én tudom. Ennyi van még, most azt fogom csinálni, hogy egy nagyobb csomagra fogok váltani.
Várj, de neked nem a csomaggal van itt a bajod. Neki itt a szolgáltató, hogy nem, ott a te körzetedben valami nem jó.
Hát, de bazd meg, az ő eszközén miért ezt? Mert ugye elkezdte nekem mondani, hogy biztos ugye, hogy a műszaki cikkel van gond, de hát mondom mind a hárommal.
Nincs az a gond.
Nincs hát mondom a PlayStation is, a telefonom is szar, meg a tévém is, minden szar egyszerre. De nem értem, hogy... Na, hát ő is itt ült a routerem mellett, és össze-vissza próbálta megoldani itten, újraindítgatott, resetelt, telefonált, méregetett, kábel cserélt, ezt csinálja, azt csinálja, hát persze semmit nem tudott csinálni, hát ezeket én is megcsináltam. És ugye Wi-Fi-n van a telefonom, a PlayStation kábel, és mindenhol ugye szart mutat, szóval...
Na nekem mennem kell.
Jó
Nekem
van.
a laptop azt írja, hogy 500 megabit per szekundum a feltöltés. 534 a feltöltés.
Aha.
569 a letöltés.
Na mindegy.
És ezt Wi-Fi mutatja a laptop.
De ezt ugye nem értem én se, hogy... Hát én hogy érteném, a csávó se értette az egészet, hogy nekem bazd meg ezt mutatja, 3 eszközön, ő meg ráköti a saját izéját, ami gondolom egy halálpontos, precíz fasza műszer, ez erre van kitalálva ugye hát, és neki minden jó. Nekem meg mind a 3 eszközön minden szar. Na szóval... Szóval... Hát ennyit tudok még, igen. Mondom. Hogy egy nagyobb csomagra váltok. Aztán hátra, amikor ugye ott benne a központból...
Valamint átkapcsolnak emiatt.
Hát igen, átállítják itt a netsebességemet, meg easy, hát akkor ottan valami megjavul, vagy nem tudom. Akkor újra visszakapom, mert hát ja, nem tudom. Ennyi, a csávó minden kábelt. Ami a falból kijön a routerbe, azt a kábelt is kicserélte. Meg azt is kicserélte, ugye az internetkábelt is kicserélte, ugye.
Ebédelni kéne lassan.
Hát neked most aludni kéne egyet.
Én aludtam, amúgy egész időben lefeküdtem.
Ja.
9 után kelt, vagy mi ezt?
Hát azt mondtad, a
3-9-kor
verseny.
keltem. Hát
Közben
akkor úgy éreztem.
Lehet, hogy még be kell aludnia egy kicsit.
Hát ott volt egy beájulós rész az egyik ciginél, de túltettem magam rajta. És most már az ebédre gondolok.
Na majd akkor fogsz elájulni. Bezabálsz, ilyen a kajakóma.
Attól fogok elájulni, a kirúgnak a Novarától. Gyerünk fiúk, agyamán! Ez az, cselezzük be magunkat. Ott a gól... Bazd meg! Halmai, mi van ma veletek? Ma is. Hetek óta nem megy a játék, srácok. Már fiziót cseréltem, hogy a sérülések meg a felépülés az jobban menjen.
Mennyit tudsz játszani az a játékkal, ember?
Mert kurva jó, azért.
Tényleg?
Ha ezt szereted, akkor igen, kurva, én szeretem. De a Nessának is nézem a streamjét, ami 2 hetente, ami csinál csapatot, arról a videóit, és ő is azt mondja, hogy azért is szereti a menedzsert, mert megszűri a nézettséget. Aki ezzel játszik, ehhez már kell egyfajta intellektus, vagy valami, érted? Ezzel nem tudsz neki jól játszani, akkor nem lesz benne sikerélményed, és abba hagyod. Mert mindig ki fognak rúgni. Vagy cheatelsz, érted? De az meg nem olyan. Szóval megszűri a közönséget, ő is azt mondta. Hogy azért szereti az FM-et. Lehet, hogy kevesebb a nézettség, de a quality az feljebb van.
Hát jó, de te nem azért játszol vele.
Nem, de én akiket nézek, mondjuk az a 2-3 magyar streamer, az mindegyik érdekes és normális.
A Nessai normális.
A Nessai az azt hiszem kurva jó, ahogy nyomja a Budafokkal, az brutál.
Én nem bírom a Westside.
Meg pont ugyanolyan elgondolásból játszik a Budafokkal, mint én, ugye? Én bírom a Westside. Így ezt a részét, amit ennyit láttam belőle. Semmi mást. Az Aputest podcastben nagyon ritkán beleszaladok munka közben, de végig nem tudom hallgatni, úgyhogy nem az én stílusom a csávó, viszont a Budafoknál, amit leművel ebbe a játékba, azt tetszik, úgyhogy azt nézem. Van egy Eagle FM nevű csávó, azt is szoktam nézni, az Oádámot.
Az is magyar?
Aha, az is. Csak magyarokat nézek FM-ből.
Ja.
Most mit hallgassam a külföldi? Yo, this player is not good for this match.
Nice dude, nice, yes. Nice.
Ezen jó ezeket hallgatni, mert ők is hasonlóan játszanak, mint én, végignézik a meccseket. Én azért néha szimulálok, ők nem. Meg ott is kicsi a nézettsége mindegyiknek, viszont mindig ott van 2-3 srác, aki mindegyiket ugyanúgy nézi. Az egyik egy ilyen több 1000 órás Atom Pro játékos, és ott ül és mindenkinek segít, mindegyik streamernek. Ha kérdezek valamit, akkor nem tudja rá a streamer a választ, akkor mindjárt mondja, hogy várjál, mindjárt Alfa megérkezik és megválaszolja a kérdésedet. És már szerintem gépelődik a 8 soros üzenet a chatten, amit áll az Alfa gépe, hogy megválaszolja nekem a kérdést. Az kiderült, hogy az valami nem tudom hány ezer órát beletett a játékba. Mondom, akkor hasonló lehet, mint én a Gran Turismo-val. De PC-n hát magyarításuk van. Olyan face meg logó meg messzpakkokat raknak össze a fanok, hogy brutál jó. Az NB1-es csapatoknak a mezeit összerakják, NB2-es csapatoknak a mezeit összerakják. Na ugye van messztervező. És van akik ezzel foglalkoznak, hogy ha kijön egy galambos Jancsi, majdnem kiegyenlített a Novara.
Galambos Jancsi?
A paks tehetsége, jó? Úgy néz. De nincs formában. Volt néhány meccs, amikor kezdett és jól játszott. Szóval jó közössége van ennek a játéknak. Még a Total Club Managerre játszottam nagyon-nagyon sok éve, és már akkor is magyarítás volt mögötte egy ilyen community az interneten. És most is kijött pár hete a játék, már több mint 80% le van magyarítva. Hát ilyen 5000 támogatás most már ingyen nincs. Régen ingyen volt. Amikor én a Total Club Managerre játszottam még az ősidőkben, akkor még le lehetett kapni ingyen ezeket, de most a csoportban úgy van hirdetve, hogy már 80%-nál jár, és 5000 forint támogatásért lehet megkapni. És ha támogatója vagy ennek a magyarításnak, akkor le tudod tölteni, tőlük megkapod. De hát PC-n sokkal jobb a játék. Vagy nem sokkal, de vannak feature-ök, amik itt le vannak butítva PS5-re. Játékosokkal való kommunikáció. A menedzserekkel nem tudok eddig kommunikálni. Még mondjuk a Eagle FM-ben nézem, és ott a csávó a menedzsertől kér tanácsot, hogy érdemes leigazolni, mennyire lehet leigazolni, puhatolózni lehet a menedzsernél. Itt a kommunikáció le van butítva. De nekem erre a Gran Turismo szabadságra pont jó. Csak ne rúgjanak ki a Novarától, maradjunk benne a Serie B-be. Kapjak esélyt megerősíteni a csapatot nyáron. Halmainak elszállt az agya. 6-2-est játszik. 60. percig, most cserélünk egyet, 2-3-at. Hát, ha valamit kihozunk még ebből a meccsből. Kollodel feljön Turi helyére. Alberti, csinálj már valamit, bazd meg! Az, amit te leművelsz, az katasztrófa hetek óta. Az előző szezonban ő volt a gól királyom. Mindegyik játékosan boldogtalan, nézd meg. Egyedül Lödon élvező, hogy följöhetett a pályára egy kicsit. De mindjárt neki is lekonyul a száj, hogy futnia kell a labda után. Szia uram, valaki írt a csetten amúgy, szeva. Szia Gerikát 10. Kísérült meg, hogy mi történt. Mi történt? Halmos, vagy halmait kiállították, de jó, 10 ember. Hát. Nagyon jó. Milyen eddig a nap? Szenvedős. Pont olyan, mint a szezon. Pont olyan, mint a szezon. Mint halmai meccse. Úgyhogy itt... én nem akarom már lebaszni se őket meccs vége, már ahhoz sincs kedvem. Megmondom nekik, hogy takarodjatok egy nagy győzelemért. 10 emberrel csak azt lehet. Aztán lesz, ami lesz.